Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we embark on a new magical adventure with the sixth installment of the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This book is darker, more emotional, and filled with secrets that shift the entire wizarding world's fate. With Voldemort now in the open, the stakes are higher than ever, and Dumbledore enlists Harry for the most personal and dangerous mission yet, unraveling the mystery of Tom Riddle's past. The story begins not in the magical world, but in the office of the British Prime Minister. This clever introduction shows how deeply Voldemort's war is affecting the Muggle world, from bridge collapses to magical disasters. Dumbledore's sudden visit to the Prime Minister, along with Cornelius Fudge and later his successor Rufus Scrimgeour, shows the chaotic transition of power and how ill-equipped the Ministry is to handle what's coming. Simultaneously, in the darkened home of Narcissa Malfoy, a fateful vow is made. Fearing for her son Draco's life after Voldemort gives him a mysterious and dangerous task, Narcissa turns to none other than Severus Snape. In front of Bellatrix Lestrange, Snape swears the unbreakable vow to protect Draco and even finish the task if he fails. This moment sets the tone for the entire book: uncertainty, dual loyalties, and an ominous promise that will echo until the final pages. Harry, meanwhile, is finally allowed to leave the Dursleys' home under Dumbledore's escort. Their first stop isn't Hogwarts but a detour into the past, a visit to Horace Slughorn, a retired potions master whom Dumbledore hopes to bring back to Hogwarts. Slughorn is a collector of talented students and hides a crucial memory tied to Voldemort's past. Harry successfully helps convince him to return, marking the beginning of a year where memory, manipulation, and mentorship become central themes. Back at Hogwarts, changes abound. Snape is finally granted the position of defense against the dark arts teacher, while Slughorn takes over potions. In Slughorn's class, Harry stumbles upon an old textbook filled with clever potion instructions and spells written in the margins. The book is signed by someone called the Half-Blood Prince, and its guidance gives Harry an unexpected edge. But the identity of the prince remains a mystery, and a growing concern for Hermione. Dumbledore begins private lessons with Harry, diving deep into Tom Riddle's history using the pensieve. These memories show the evolution of Riddle from a gifted orphan to a cruel, manipulative young man obsessed with power and immortality. Together, they uncover Voldemort's use of Horcruxes, dark magical objects that anchor pieces of his soul, allowing him to escape death. Meanwhile, Draco Malfoy grows more secretive and isolated. Harry is convinced Draco is up to something dangerous, and his suspicions are confirmed when he spies on Draco using the invisibility cloak and even follows him to Borgin in Berks. However, the adults dismiss his worries. Even Ron and Hermione hesitate to believe Draco is working for Voldemort. Harry, increasingly frustrated, begins using the Half-Blood Prince's book to gain an advantage in both class and defense. Romantic tensions flare too. Harry's feelings for Ginny grow. Ron dates Lavender in a stormy relationship that stings Hermione. And these interpersonal developments add emotional weight to an already intense narrative. As the year progresses, Harry and Dumbledore acquire more memories and piece together the locations and nature of the Horcruxes. This leads to a harrowing journey to a secret cave by the sea, where they retrieve a fake locket from a cursed basin. Dumbledore is left weakened and vulnerable, and their return to Hogwarts leads straight into tragedy. The book's climactic scene unfolds at the Astronomy Tower, where Death Eaters, led by Draco, infiltrate the castle. But Draco hesitates to kill Dumbledore, and it's Snape who ultimately casts the fatal curse. This shocking betrayal leaves Harry devastated, and the truth about the Half-Blood Prince is finally revealed. It was Severus Snape all along. Key moments in the book introduction include: Voldemort's rise causes turmoil in both wizard and Muggle worlds. Dumbledore recruits Slughorn to retrieve a crucial memory. Snape makes the unbreakable vow with Narcissa Malfoy. Harry discovers the mysterious Half-Blood Prince's potions book. Dumbledore mentors Harry through memories of Tom Riddle's life. The mystery of Horcruxes is revealed as Voldemort's path to immortality. Book versus movie differences. The book introduces key background scenes, like the meeting with the Prime Minister, detailed insights into Tom Riddle's past, and more time spent with Slughorn, that the movie either rushes or omits. The tone is more introspective, and the mystery around the Half-Blood Prince is more gradual and meaningful in the book. That's our introduction to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This book blends mystery, memory, and heartbreak, setting the stage for the final battle against Voldemort. Stay tuned as we dive deep into each chapter, uncovering the secrets that shape the wizarding world's fate. Don't forget to like, comment with your favorite moment from this intro, and subscribe to Boundless Books. See you in Chapter 1, The Other Minister. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we step into the very first chapter of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Other Minister. This opening chapter takes us far away from Hogwarts and the familiar magical world straight into the office of the British Prime Minister. It's a clever and unusual start, giving us a look at how the Muggle government interacts with the magical one during times of crisis. The chapter opens with the Muggle Prime Minister reflecting on a particularly stressful period in office. Britain has been plagued by a string of disasters, a bridge has collapsed, there have been freak weather events, and two well-known public figures have been murdered. The Prime Minister knows that the public believes these are accidents or crimes, but he has been told otherwise. He's expecting a call from the other minister, the Minister for Magic, whom he dreads seeing. As he sits alone in his office late one evening, the green flames in his fireplace burst to life. Cornelius Fudge, the former Minister for Magic, steps out, wearing his trademark green bowler hat. The Prime Minister is not pleased to see him, as their meetings are never a sign of good news. Fudge explains that many of the disasters in recent weeks are not random at all, they are the work of Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. The bridge collapse was caused by magical sabotage. The strange hurricane was the result of magical interference, and the murders of Amelia Bones and Emmeline Vance were targeted attacks. These names mean nothing to the Prime Minister, but Fudge makes it clear that they were prominent witches and wizards. Fudge also tells him that the Ministry has had little success in controlling Voldemort's forces. Magical creatures like Dementors have joined Voldemort, spreading terror in both the Wizarding and Muggle worlds. Their presence is linked to an increase in despair, violence, and even murders in the non-magical community. The Prime Minister, overwhelmed, wonders why Fudge is still in office if things are going so badly. That's when Fudge breaks the news: he's no longer Minister for Magic. He has been replaced by Rufus Scrimgeour, a former head of the Auror Office, known for his lion-like mane of hair and no-nonsense attitude. Scrimgeour steps through the fireplace to introduce himself, immediately giving off a very different impression from Fudge, more authoritative, more forceful, but also a bit intimidating. Scrimgeour assures the Prime Minister that the Ministry is taking the threat seriously, but he makes it clear that Voldemort's forces are powerful and well-organized. He warns that the Ministry might need to inform the Muggle authorities if more attacks happen. The Prime Minister is both unnerved and resentful. He has enough trouble without having to deal with dark wizards. Before leaving, Fudge awkwardly apologizes for the Prime Minister's difficult introduction to the magical world years ago. He also mentions that Harry Potter is still alive and remains Voldemort's target. This baffles the Prime Minister, who can't understand why one boy could matter so much in such a dangerous conflict. The chapter closes with the Prime Minister sitting in stunned silence after the two magical ministers depart, his thoughts heavy with fear and uncertainty. The reader, meanwhile, has been handed a much wider view of the war, setting the tone for a darker and more politically complex story. Key moments in the chapter include a rare Muggle perspective. The story opens in the Muggle Prime Minister's office, showing how the Wizarding world's problems are spilling into the non-magical one. It's one of the few times in the entire series where the point of view belongs to a non-magical character. Magical disasters explained, the collapsed Brockdale Bridge, unusual storms, and unexplained murders are all linked to Voldemort's return, highlighting the scale of his influence. The fate of Amelia Bones and Emmeline Vance, these deaths serve as a grim reminder of Voldemort's ruthlessness and his direct targeting of high-ranking or influential witches and wizards. Fudge's fall from power. Cornelius Fudge admits he is no longer Minister for Magic, marking a major political shift in the Wizarding world after his denial of Voldemort's return in the previous book. Introduction of Rufus Scrimgeour, the new Minister for Magic, makes his first appearance, setting up his role as a key political figure in the story. Dementors on the loose. Fudge reveals that Dementors have left Azkaban and joined Voldemort, which is responsible for an increase in despair and chaos even among Muggles. Harry Potter mentioned. Although Harry is not present in this chapter, his significance is reinforced. Even the Muggle Prime Minister is told that Harry is central to the conflict. Differences between the book and the movie. The film adaptation of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince omits the other minister entirely. This means several key aspects of the book's opening are missing from the movie. No Muggle Prime Minister scene. The movie begins with a visually dramatic sequence in London, including a collapsing Millennium Bridge, but this is shown without any political context or explanation involving the Muggle government. Cornelius Fudge's resignation in the film. There's no direct scene showing Fudge stepping down or Scrimgeour taking over. This political transition happens off-screen and is never explicitly mentioned. Absence of Rufus Scrimgeour's introduction. Scrimgeour is a significant book character, but the movies reduce his role drastically. He does not appear in Half-Blood Prince at all, only making a brief appearance in Deathly Hallows, Part 1. Muggle-Wizard relations. The humorous yet tense interactions between the Prime Minister and the Ministers for Magic are unique to the book. The Other Minister is a brilliantly unusual opening for a Harry Potter book. It shifts the reader's perspective, showing that Voldemort's rise affects far more than just Hogwarts or the wizarding world. By including a political dimension, J.K. Rowling expands the scope of the conflict, illustrating how magical and non-magical lives intertwine in times of crisis. The absence of this chapter in the movie removes an important layer of realism and complexity from the story. Without it, the film jumps straight into the action, but loses the chance to explore the broader societal impact of Voldemort's return. That wraps up Chapter 1, The Other Minister. It's a masterful setup for the darker, more political themes of the Half-Blood Prince. Which part of this opening did you find most intriguing? The disasters explained, the change in magical leadership, or the uneasy alliance between the two worlds? Let us know your thoughts, and get ready to step back into the wizarding world as we continue to the next chapter. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're stepping into Chapter 2 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Spinner's End. This chapter takes us far from Hogwarts and into the dark, damp streets of an industrial town, where an unexpected meeting between Death Eaters unfolds, and where Severus Snape's loyalties are tested in the most dangerous way yet. The night is wet and oppressive as Narcissa Malfoy hurries through a narrow, grimy street, her blonde hair hidden beneath a hood. Beside her, Bellatrix Lestrange moves with dangerous grace, her eyes scanning the shadows. Narcissa's urgency is clear, her voice shakes as she tries to outrun Bellatrix's attempts to stop her. Bellatrix, fiercely loyal to the Dark Lord, warns her sister not to do anything foolish, reminding her that the Dark Lord trusts me. But Narcissa insists this is about Draco, her son, and she must speak to someone who can help. They arrive at a dark row of houses, their windows reflecting the rain-slicked street. Narcissa hurries to one in particular, knocking urgently. The door opens, revealing a pale, thin-faced woman with watery eyes and a timid demeanor, Wormtail, lurking in the shadows behind her. This is none other than Severus Snape's modest home in Spinner's End. Inside, the room is dim and cramped, lined with dusty shelves and filled with the faint scent of potions and old parchment. Snape sits in a chair by the fire, calm and composed. Bellatrix wastes no time, her suspicion of Snape spilling out in a rapid interrogation. Why was he not at the Dark Lord's side when Harry Potter escaped? Why does Dumbledore trust him so implicitly? Why has he never made a move to kill the boy? Snape answers with icy precision, dismantling her accusations one by one. He reminds her that he has served the Dark Lord for years, working from within Dumbledore's confidence to feed him valuable information. He explains his absence at the Department of Mysteries and subtly mocks Bellatrix's impulsiveness. Wormtail, clearly uncomfortable, hovers near the door, tasked with serving drinks at Snape's request. Narcissa, who has been silent through much of this verbal sparring, finally bursts out with her plea. Draco has been given a mission by Voldemort. She is terrified for his life and begs Snape to protect him. Bellatrix tries to silence her, but Narcissa refuses to be stopped. The task, though unnamed, is clearly dangerous and possibly fatal. In an act of desperation, Narcissa drops to her knees before Snape. Bellatrix hisses at her to stop, but she does not move. Snape considers her words, then agrees to make an unbreakable vow, a binding magical contract that will kill him if he fails to fulfill it. Bellatrix steps forward, her wand raised to seal the spell. The room darkens, and silvery magical cords wind around Snape and Narcissa's joined hands. Narcissa makes 3 promises: that Snape will watch over Draco, protect him from harm, and complete his mission if he fails. Snape agrees to each vow without hesitation, the magical bonds glowing brighter with every word. When the final vow is sealed, the silver light fades, and the tension in the room settles into a cold, ominous certainty. The chapter closes on this chilling note, leaving readers to wonder, has Snape truly bound himself to Draco's cause? Or is there a deeper layer to his allegiance that even Bellatrix cannot see? Key moments in the chapter include Narcissa and Bellatrix's rainy journey to Spinner's End, setting the tone for secrecy and danger. Bellatrix's intense interrogation of Snape, questioning his loyalty to Voldemort. Narcissa's desperate plea for Snape to protect Draco at all costs. The unbreakable vow, sealing Snape's promise with deadly magical consequences. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the conversation between Snape and Bellatrix is far longer, exploring Snape's supposed double role in great detail. The movie trims much of this dialogue, focusing on the unbreakable vow scene and condensing their discussion. Wormtail's awkward presence in Snape's home is highlighted in the book but nearly absent in the film. The rainy, industrial setting of Spinner's End is described vividly in the book, while the movie's portrayal is briefer and less atmospheric. That wraps up Chapter 2, Spinner's End. This scene is one of the most pivotal in the series, setting up the mystery of Snape's true loyalty and Draco's dangerous mission. What do you think? Was Snape being truthful in his promises, or was this just another layer of his secret plan? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 3. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 3 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Will and Won't. This chapter shifts the focus to a familiar, eccentric figure, Albus Dumbledore. But rather than arriving at Hogwarts, Dumbledore comes to visit Harry at the Dursleys' home, a rare and rather uncomfortable situation for everyone involved. It's a chapter full of sharp dialogue, awkward family interactions, and the first major step toward Harry's new year at Hogwarts. The chapter opens in the living room of number 4, Privet Drive, where the Dursleys are in a state of shock. Dumbledore is standing in their doorway, calm, dignified, and looking entirely out of place. Vernon Dursley tries to assert his authority, demanding to know why the headmaster is there, but Dumbledore maintains polite control of the conversation. Harry, meanwhile, watches the scene with a mix of amusement and curiosity. Dumbledore requests to sit down, conjuring drinks for everyone when the Dursleys fail to offer refreshments. This small act, magically producing glasses of mead, is both courteous and a subtle way of reminding them of his power. The Dursleys' discomfort is palpable as they reluctantly accept the drinks but refuse to touch them. With his usual calm authority, Dumbledore explains that he needs to discuss Harry's future with both Harry and his guardians. He reminds the Dursleys of the magical protection Harry has while living under their roof, a protection tied to his mother's sacrifice and Aunt Petunia's blood. This spell will remain only until Harry turns 17, provided he calls Privet Drive home for part of each year. Then comes a sharp rebuke. Dumbledore criticizes the Dursleys for the way they have treated Harry, reminding them of their moral and familial duty. He points out their neglect and lack of kindness, saying it's fortunate Harry's character was strong enough to endure such treatment. After that, Dumbledore shifts the conversation to practical matters. Sirius Black's will. He informs Harry that Sirius has left him everything he owned, including number 12, Grimmauld Place, Kreacher the House Elf, and Buckbeak the Hippogriff. However, because the Black family home is protected by ancient enchantments, Dumbledore must verify whether the house elf is truly bound to Harry. Summoning Kreacher proves the inheritance is valid, and the elf appears hostile as ever. Harry orders Kreacher to work with Dumbledore, though it's clear the elf remains resentful. Dumbledore then explains that before heading to Hogwarts, Harry will accompany him on an errand. They will stop at the home of Horace Slughorn, a former potions master whom Dumbledore hopes to persuade to return to teaching. Harry is curious and slightly suspicious about why Dumbledore is involving him in this task, but the headmaster remains mysterious. Finally, Dumbledore prepares to leave with Harry, instructing him to get his belongings. As Harry follows him out the door, the Dursleys are left behind, still stunned from the unexpected visit. The chapter closes with the sense that something bigger is unfolding. Dumbledore's plans are already in motion, and Harry is being drawn into them. Key moments in the chapter include Dumbledore's unexpected arrival at the Dursleys' home. Awkward, intense interactions between Dumbledore and the Dursleys. Explanation of the magical protection over Harry until age 17. Dumbledore's criticism of the Dursleys' treatment of Harry. Reading of Sirius Black's will and Harry's inheritance of Grimmauld Place, Kreacher, and Buckbeak. Kreacher's reluctant acceptance of Harry as his new master. Introduction of Dumbledore's plan to recruit Horace Slughorn. Differences between the book and the movie. This entire scene with Dumbledore visiting the Dursleys is omitted in the movie. The explanation about Harry's magical protection linked to the Dursleys' home is not shown in the film. The subplot of Kreacher becoming Harry's property is also absent from the movie. The book's chapter is rich with humor, awkward tension, and character development, while the movie skips directly to Harry meeting Dumbledore outside the Dursleys' home. That wraps up Chapter 3, Will and Won't. This chapter deepens our understanding of Harry's home life, sets up important plot points for the inheritance from Sirius, and begins the mystery of Dumbledore's errand. What was your favorite moment, Dumbledore's calm dominance over the Dursleys, or Kreacher's reluctant loyalty shift? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 4. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're delving into Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Horace Slughorn. This chapter introduces us to a colorful and influential character whose return to the wizarding world will have a profound effect on the events to come. The story follows Dumbledore and Harry as they set off to recruit a former Hogwarts professor, blending lighthearted humor with subtle hints of the darker conflicts ahead. The chapter begins with Dumbledore and Harry leaving Privet Drive. Harry is still digesting Dumbledore's unexpected visit and the astonishing events of the past hour, including his headmaster's cryptic references to the looming danger in the wizarding world. They apparate to a quiet country lane, and Dumbledore leads Harry toward a small village. Dumbledore explains that they are visiting an old friend, or rather, an old colleague, named Horace Slughorn. As they walk, Dumbledore takes a moment to ask Harry about his relationship with his Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon. He lightly teases Harry about his manners, reminding him to always be polite, no matter the situation. Dumbledore's warm, slightly mischievous nature comes through here, offsetting the otherwise tense atmosphere. They arrive at a small, neat house. However, something is amiss. The front door is ajar, and the place looks as though a struggle has taken place, furniture overturned, glass shattered, and dark splatters on the wall. Dumbledore seems unfazed, carefully inspecting the scene. Harry instinctively reaches for his wand, bracing for danger. Without warning, Dumbledore pokes a large armchair with his wand, and the chair transforms into a rather stout, well-dressed man, Horace Slughorn himself. The entire crime scene was a clever ruse. Slughorn admits he's been hiding from both Death Eaters and Dumbledore, unwilling to be drawn into either side of the conflict. Slughorn is portrayed as a man with refined tastes and a love for luxury. Even in hiding, he has surrounded himself with comfortable furnishings, borrowed from the home's absent owner. He openly admits that the reason he's been avoiding Dumbledore is that he fears being forced to take a side in the war, and he has no desire to face danger. Dumbledore introduces Harry, and Slughorn immediately perks up. He's intrigued by the prospect of adding Harry Potter, the boy who lived, to his collection of well-connected and talented students. Slughorn has a habit of befriending those who show promise, partly to help them, but also to benefit from their future fame and influence. As the conversation progresses, Dumbledore leaves the room, giving Harry the opportunity to win Slughorn over. Slughorn questions Harry about his achievements, and Harry's modest, genuine responses contrast sharply with Slughorn's tendency to name-drop famous acquaintances. Ultimately, Slughorn agrees to return to Hogwarts, though not without securing promises about the comfort of his future quarters. When Dumbledore and Harry leave, Dumbledore confides in Harry that Slughorn's talents as a potions master are unmatched, but more importantly, there is a specific reason he wants Slughorn back at the school. Though Dumbledore doesn't reveal it yet, readers are left with a sense that Slughorn knows something vital to the fight against Voldemort. The chapter closes with the two setting off for their next stop, the Burrow, with Harry wondering what role this new professor will play in the dangerous year ahead. Key moments in the chapter include arrival at Slughorn's hideout. Dumbledore and Harry find the house staged to look like a crime scene. Slughorn's reveal. The armchair transforms into Horace Slughorn, showing his talent for disguise and self-preservation. Slughorn's reluctance. He explains his desire to remain neutral in the wizarding conflict. Harry's influence. Slughorn is swayed by the chance to teach Harry Potter. Dumbledore's hidden agenda. A subtle hint that Slughorn holds important knowledge. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the scene at Slughorn's hideout includes more detail about the staged break-in and Harry's unease, which is toned down in the movie. The book emphasizes Slughorn's name-dropping habits and his desire for comfort. The movie condenses this for pacing. Dumbledore's subtle manipulation of the situation, leaving Harry alone with Slughorn, is clearer in the book than in the movie. Chapter 4 serves as a humorous yet revealing introduction to Horace Slughorn, a character whose vanity, cunning, and connections will prove crucial later on. While the chapter feels light compared to the darker tone of the previous ones, it sets up important threads for the rest of the book. So, what do you think of Slughorn's collector personality? Would you have trusted him right away? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we journey into Chapter 5 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled An Excess of Phlegm. This chapter blends humor, awkward family dynamics, and the comforting warmth of the burrow, all while setting up the emotional undercurrents for the year ahead. It's the perfect example of J.K. Rowling's ability to make readers feel right at home with the Weasleys while still planting seeds for the darker events to come. The chapter opens with Harry waking up at the burrow after his eventful trip with Dumbledore. It's a typical Weasley morning, noisy, busy, and full of delicious smells drifting from the kitchen. The title of the chapter, however, quickly becomes clear when Harry meets the unexpected new resident of the burrow, Fleur Delacour. Fleur is engaged to Bill Weasley, and her glamorous presence has left Ginny, Hermione, and Mrs. Weasley less than impressed. Ginny is especially vocal about it, sarcastically dubbing Fleur phlegm behind her back. Harry greets Ginny warmly, and their easy banter is evident, a small but growing sign of their developing closeness. They discuss Fleur's arrival, Ginny's opinions on her, and the fact that Mrs. Weasley seems determined to keep Fleur occupied with household tasks, perhaps in hopes she'll grow tired of living at the burrow. Soon, Harry heads down to breakfast, where he's warmly welcomed by Mr. Weasley. Fred and George also appear, bringing their usual comedic energy. The twins' joke shop, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, is thriving, and they proudly share some of their latest magical inventions with Harry, including shield hats and decoy detonators, items that are suddenly in high demand due to the heightened security climate in the wizarding world. Mrs. Weasley, however, isn't as amused by their business ventures, though even she admits their products are useful for defense against the dark arts. Her focus remains on making sure everyone is fed and cared for, but her subtle tension about Fleur's presence and the impending war lingers under the surface. During the day, Harry also catches up with Ron and Hermione. Ron is thrilled about Harry's arrival, and Hermione seems happy too, though she clearly shares Ginny's opinion of Fleur. They talk about the changes at Hogwarts, the upcoming school year, and their OWL results, which are due soon. The anticipation adds to the mix of excitement and nerves in the air. Mrs. Weasley tries to keep Harry and the others busy with chores, clearly orchestrating situations where Fleur is not directly involved. Fleur herself remains confident and cheerful, seemingly oblivious to the undercurrents of resentment from Ginny, Hermione, and Mrs. Weasley. Bill, however, is completely smitten and doesn't seem to notice the tension. The chapter is filled with warm, cozy scenes, peeling potatoes, setting the table, magical cleaning, but also subtle reminders of the looming danger in the outside world. The Order of the Phoenix is active, and security measures are increasing. Harry feels both safe and unsettled, knowing that Voldemort is growing stronger while life at the burrow remains a comforting bubble. By the chapter's end, the stage is set for more personal drama alongside the larger battle against Voldemort. Harry is drawn deeper into the warmth of the Weasley family, but he can't ignore the tensions, both in the household and in the wizarding world at large. Key moments in the chapter include Harry's warm welcome at the burrow, reinforcing his bond with the Weasleys. Introduction of Fleur Delacour as Bill's fiancée, and the resulting tension with Mrs. Weasley, Ginny, and Hermione. Fred and George showcasing their booming joke shop business and its role in the current climate. Light-hearted domestic scenes contrasted with subtle reminders of the dangerous situation outside the burrow. Growing closeness between Harry and Ginny through casual, humorous exchanges. Differences between the book and the movie. This entire chapter does not appear in the Half-Blood Prince film. Fleur's engagement to Bill is not depicted until Deathly Hallows. The humorous phlegm subplot and Ginny's teasing of Fleur are absent in the movie. The warm, detailed domestic atmosphere of the burrow in the book is replaced in the film by a darker, action-heavy scene, the attack on the burrow, which was not in the original novel. That wraps up Chapter 5, An Excess of Phlegm. This chapter is a charming blend of humor, family warmth, and subtle foreshadowing, giving us a glimpse into both everyday life at the burrow and the shifting relationships between characters. What's your favorite Weasley family moment from this chapter? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 6.
Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 6 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Draco's Detour. This chapter takes us into the bustling streets of Diagon Alley, but instead of the usual wonder and excitement, there's a heavy shadow of fear and unease cast over the wizarding world. Harry, the Weasleys, and Hermione find themselves confronted with the darker side of the magical community, and Harry begins to suspect Draco Malfoy might be involved in something far more dangerous than teenage mischief. The chapter begins with Harry staying at the Burrow and then traveling with the Weasleys, Hermione, and Fleur Delacour to Diagon Alley. This year, the trip feels very different from previous ones. The wizarding world is now fully aware that Voldemort has returned, and the fear of Death Eaters and dark magic looms everywhere. Many shops are closed, boarded up, or replaced with grim warnings and ministry notices. There's a sense of paranoia in the air, which Rowling captures beautifully in her description of the once lively alley now subdued with dread. The group first visits Fred and George's new shop, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. It is the one bright and lively spot in the entire alley. The twins' shop is thriving, full of customers, and overflowing with colorful magical products. They are selling joke items, trick wands, love potions, and even products designed for defense against the dark arts, such as shield hats and Peruvian instant darkness powder. Harry is thrilled to see their success, especially since he had given them the gold from his Triwizard Tournament winnings to start the business. The twins' shop stands as a symbol of resilience and defiance against the darkness, while at the shop, Harry, Ron, and Hermione notice Draco Malfoy slipping by outside. Harry immediately suspects that Malfoy is up to no good and insists on following him. They discreetly trail Draco and his mother, Narcissa, as they head toward Borgin and Burke's, the sinister shop dealing in dark artifacts. Harry becomes convinced that Draco is acting on behalf of Voldemort, though Ron and Hermione are less certain. Inside Borgin and Burke's, Draco speaks privately with the shop owner. The trio can't hear all the details, but Harry tries to eavesdrop by hiding in a cupboard. Draco is clearly threatening Borgin, reminding him that he has friends who would be very interested if Borgin fails to cooperate. He insists that Borgin keep a particular object safe and fix something else that Draco leaves with him. The exact details are vague, but Draco also mentions that he needs a way to ensure that nobody can remove the object from the shop. Harry is convinced that Draco has become a Death Eater and that Voldemort has entrusted him with some kind of mission. He believes this is far more than schoolboy mischief. Ron and Hermione, however, are skeptical. They argue that Draco is far too young and inexperienced to be trusted with such important tasks. Still, Harry remains sure of what he has seen and heard. The chapter closes with this lingering sense of tension and suspicion. Diagon Alley no longer feels safe, and Harry's conviction about Malfoy being involved with Voldemort begins to grow stronger. This suspicion will drive a major subplot throughout the rest of the book, as Harry continuously tries to prove Draco's connection to the Death Eaters while others dismiss his fears as paranoia. Key moments in the chapter include the bleak and fearful transformation of Diagon Alley under Voldemort's shadow, the thriving success of Weasley's Wizard Wheezes as a bright spot amid dark times, the wide range of magical products sold by the twins, from prank items to serious defensive tools, Harry spotting Draco Malfoy sneaking into Borgin and Burke's, Draco's cryptic and threatening conversation with Mr. Borgin, suggesting he has a secret mission, Harry's growing conviction that Draco is working for Voldemort, setting the stage for one of the book's central conflicts. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the group visits Diagon Alley, and the Weasley's shop is given a detailed, joyful description. In the movie, this is shown briefly but is less detailed. The movie condenses Draco's suspicious activities. Harry doesn't overhear the conversation in Borgin and Burke's in detail. Instead, the film shows Draco briefly in the shop with Borgin. The book emphasizes the contrast between the gloom of Diagon Alley and the brightness of the twins' shop much more strongly than the film. Harry's certainty about Draco being a Death Eater is better developed in the book, while in the movie it seems more like a sudden suspicion without full build-up. That wraps up Chapter 6, Draco's Detour. This chapter perfectly illustrates the growing tension in the wizarding world and sets up one of the book's most important mysteries, Draco's secret mission. What do you think about Harry's suspicion? Was he paranoid, or was he right to trust his instincts? Let us know your favorite moment in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 7, The Slug Club.
Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're stepping into Chapter 7 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Slug Club. This chapter introduces us to the eccentric Professor Horace Slughorn's special group of hand-picked students, giving us an early look at how favoritism and connections play a role in the wizarding world. It's a chapter filled with humor, awkwardness, and important character interactions, setting the tone for the new school year. The chapter begins aboard the Hogwarts Express. Students are buzzing with excitement about the return to Hogwarts and curious about the newly appointed potions master, Professor Slughorn. Harry, Ron, and Hermione secure their usual compartment. Ginny joins them for a while, though she later goes off to sit with her friends, Dean Thomas, and others. Soon, word spreads about Slughorn's peculiar interest in students with famous family connections or special talents. Slughorn is well known for cultivating relationships with promising young witches and wizards who might rise to power or fame. This practice is quickly dubbed the Slug Club. Harry, naturally, is invited because of his fame and accomplishments. Hermione is also invited for her intelligence, and Neville surprisingly gets a spot thanks to his family's heritage. The invitation comes in the form of a lunch gathering aboard the train. Harry reluctantly attends, sitting alongside students like Blaise Zabini, a Slytherin boy who catches Harry's attention for his aloof, snide demeanor. Slughorn entertains the group with anecdotes and light flattery, clearly delighted to surround himself with students he believes may prove useful or influential one day. Harry feels awkward at being paraded as a sort of trophy guest but also recognizes that Slughorn's motives are not entirely malicious. He simply thrives on social connections. Neville's inclusion in the group is particularly touching, as he rarely receives recognition at Hogwarts. Slughorn praises his knowledge of herbology, something that leaves Neville beaming. Hermione, as usual, answers questions eagerly, earning Slughorn's admiration for her cleverness and hard work. Harry notices how Slughorn skillfully flatters each student in just the right way. Meanwhile, Blaise Zabini remains cold and arrogant, providing a sharp contrast to the others. His disdainful attitude catches Harry's attention, reminding him of the smug superiority often associated with Slytherins. After the lunch gathering concludes, Harry quickly retreats, eager to return to Ron and Hermione. He explains the experience to them, expressing both bemusement and discomfort at Slughorn's attempts to collect him as a prize student. Hermione, however, finds Slughorn fascinating and notes that he seems to genuinely admire talent, even if his methods are somewhat opportunistic. As the train ride continues, Harry sneaks away under his invisibility cloak to eavesdrop on Draco Malfoy, who has once again captured Harry's suspicions. Inside a compartment, Harry overhears Draco bragging to his fellow Slytherins, boasting about secret plans and connections to Voldemort. He implies that he is now trusted with important tasks. Harry is convinced Draco has become a Death Eater. Unfortunately, the spying mission ends poorly. Draco, ever sharp and suspicious, senses something amiss. With a sudden move, he casts a spell that immobilizes Harry and stomps on his nose, breaking it. Harry is left crumpled and helpless under his cloak until Tonks, now serving as a Hogwarts guard, finds him and heals his injuries. She helps him board the carriages to the castle. The chapter closes with Harry more certain than ever that Draco Malfoy is working for Voldemort, though his friends remain unconvinced. This sets the stage for one of the central tensions of the book, Harry's determination to prove Malfoy's allegiance to the Death Eaters. Key moments in the chapter include Slughorn's invitation-only lunch aboard the train, showcasing his habit of collecting talented or well-connected students. Neville receiving rare recognition for his herbology skills. Hermione impressing Slughorn with her intelligence. Blaise Zabini's arrogance and introduction as a new character of note. Harry's discomfort at being used as Slughorn's trophy student. Harry spying on Malfoy and overhearing hints about his secret mission. Draco's cruel attack on Harry, breaking his nose and leaving him helpless. Tonks rescuing Harry and showing her quieter, somber demeanor compared to earlier books. Differences between the book and the movie. The Slug Club lunch on the train is absent from the movie. Instead, Slughorn's club is introduced later at Hogwarts through different gatherings. Blaise Zabini has only a brief appearance in the film and is not given the same attention as in the book. The scene where Draco attacks Harry on the train is drastically shortened in the movie. Tonks is replaced by Luna Lovegood, who finds Harry and helps him. The book provides much more context for Slughorn's character and his fascination with talented students. Chapter 7, The Slug Club, is both humorous and tense. Balancing Slughorn's lighthearted eccentricities with the darker subplot of Malfoy's secret activities. It underscores the theme of connections, whether social or sinister, and highlights the growing divide between ordinary school life and the looming war. That wraps up Chapter 7, The Slug Club. Which part of this chapter stood out to you most, the oddity of Slughorn's club, or Harry's tense encounter with Malfoy? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 8. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 8 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Snape Victorious. This chapter captures Harry's simmering anger toward Severus Snape, introduces us to a moment of true tension between Gryffindor and Slytherin, and ends with a harsh punishment that sets the tone for the school year. The chapter begins with Harry's shocking fall from the Hogwarts Express. After being paralyzed and humiliated by Draco Malfoy under the invisibility cloak, Harry is left stranded on the train, unable to move. Fortunately, Tonks discovers him and uses Enervate to revive him. The reunion is bittersweet. Tonks looks pale and weary, far from the lively, pink-haired witch Harry remembers. Her Patronus has changed shape, and she seems unusually quiet and downcast. Harry immediately senses that something is wrong with her. Tonks escorts Harry to the castle gates. She mentions that the Order was keeping an eye out for trouble and offers to help him get into the school. Harry notices that her Patronus charm is no longer a jackrabbit, raising suspicions about her emotional state and hinting at her connection to Lupin. Once inside, Harry is met by the disapproving figure of Severus Snape. Instead of showing concern, Snape takes the opportunity to punish Harry. He accuses him of seeking attention by arriving late and failing to follow rules. In his usual venomous tone, Snape deducts house points and humiliates Harry before escorting him to the Great Hall. As Harry enters the Great Hall, the sorting ceremony is already over, and Professor Dumbledore is giving his welcoming speech. The feast is underway, and Harry is embarrassed to make a late entrance under everyone's gaze. His friends Ron and Hermione quickly join him, clearly worried about where he's been. Harry quietly recounts the attack by Malfoy, though the details about Draco's behavior make Hermione uncertain whether to believe that Malfoy is a full-fledged Death Eater. At the staff table, Harry notices that Horace Slughorn has officially joined the Hogwarts staff as the new potions master, while Snape has finally assumed the role of defense against the dark arts professor, a post he has coveted for years. This shocking announcement stuns Harry and fills him with dread, as it means that Snape now holds direct authority over one of the most vital subjects in the fight against Voldemort. Dumbledore concludes the feast with his usual wise words, cautioning students about safety in the dark times ahead. Harry, however, can barely focus on the food or the conversation. His mind is consumed by anger toward Malfoy, resentment toward Snape, and confusion about Tonks's strange behavior. As the chapter closes, the looming presence of Snape as defense against the dark arts teacher hangs heavy in Harry's thoughts. The boy who has suspected Snape of dark loyalties since his first year now faces the reality that his greatest rival at Hogwarts has gained the position of power he has always desired. Key moments in the chapter include, Tonks rescues Harry from Draco's hex on the train, but her weakened, sad demeanor hints at personal struggles. Harry notices Tonks's changed Patronus, a detail that will later connect to her feelings for Lupin. Snape humiliates Harry instead of showing concern, deducting house points and punishing him further. The sorting ceremony concludes, though Harry misses it, highlighting his isolation. Slughorn is confirmed as Potions Master, and Snape shockingly becomes the new defense against the dark arts professor. Harry's anger deepens toward both Malfoy and Snape, fueling his determination to uncover the truth. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Tonks rescues Harry from the train, revealing her exhaustion and emotional struggles. In the movie, Luna Lovegood is the one who finds Harry under the invisibility cloak, using her Spectrospecs. The book emphasizes Tonks's Patronus change, foreshadowing her relationship with Lupin, while the movie omits this detail entirely. The announcement of Snape as defense against the dark arts teacher is a dramatic moment in the book's feast scene, while in the film, this revelation is given earlier and with less suspense. That wraps up Chapter 8, Snape Victorious. This chapter reinforces Harry's ongoing distrust of Snape, sets up Tonks's subplot with Lupin, and reveals a dramatic shift in Hogwarts' staff structure that will shape the entire year. What do you think? Was Dumbledore right to finally give Snape the position he had always wanted? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 9, The Half-Blood Prince. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 9 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Half-Blood Prince. This chapter brings us deeper into Harry's 6th year, where an old textbook becomes the key to unexpected success, mysteries about identity unfold, and we see the beginnings of rivalries that will shape the year. The chapter begins with Harry, Ron, and Hermione settling into their new timetables. Ron is still grumbling about the heavy workload and Hermione is keeping herself very organized. The trio heads off to their classes, beginning with Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is now taught by Professor Snape. This change itself creates tension. Since Snape has always wanted the post and now finally has it, in Snape's class, the atmosphere is strict and severe. He informs them that Defense Against the Dark Arts will be taught much more seriously this year, with a heavy focus on nonverbal spells. This frustrates many students, especially Ron and Neville, who struggle to keep up. Harry, however, finds himself more challenged than ever, as Snape seizes the opportunity to make him look bad in front of the class. After this difficult class, the students move on to potions with Professor Slughorn. This is where the real turning point of the chapter begins. since Harry, Ron, and Hermione had not purchased their own textbooks yet. Slughorn directs them to a cupboard of old, used ones. Harry ends up with a battered, second-hand copy of Advanced Potion Making. When class begins, Slughorn introduces them to a difficult assignment, brewing the Draught of Living Death, a highly complex potion. As expected, Hermione throws herself into the task with determination, while Ron struggles beside her. Harry, on the other hand, notices something strange in his old book. The margins are filled with handwritten notes, corrections, and improvements by the book's previous owner, who signed themselves as the Half-Blood Prince. Using these handwritten tips, Harry adjusts his potion making. Instead of chopping ingredients in the usual way, he follows the prince's suggestion to crush or cut them differently. To his surprise, the instructions work brilliantly. While Hermione grows increasingly frustrated at Harry's success, Harry's potion becomes near perfect. Slughorn notices this immediately and praises him, declaring Harry's work the best in the class. As a reward, Slughorn gives Harry a small vial of Felix Felicis, also known as liquid luck, a rare potion that grants the drinker extraordinary good fortune for a limited time. The class is impressed, though Hermione remains suspicious. She doesn't like the idea of Harry relying on shortcuts from someone else's scribbles. While Ron is just thrilled that Harry has done so well, after class, Harry shares the secret of his textbook with Ron and Hermione. This sparks a debate. Ron thinks it's brilliant. Finally, Harry has an advantage in potions. Hermione, however, warns that following advice from an unknown person could be dangerous. Who was this half-blood prince? Why did he leave notes? And why does he call himself that? These questions create intrigue that will run through the rest of the book. The chapter closes with Harry secretly pleased. Not only has he won Slughorn's admiration, but he's also gained a mysterious ally in the form of the Half-Blood Prince's annotations. The identity of this prince remains a mystery, setting up one of the key themes of the novel: trust, knowledge, and hidden identities. Key moments in the chapter include Harry, Ron, and Hermione attend their first defense against the dark arts class with Snape, learning non-verbal spells. Snape singles Harry out, trying to humiliate him in front of the class. Slughorn challenges the students to brew Draught of Living Death. Harry discovers the annotated textbook belonging to the Half-Blood Prince. Using the notes, Harry brews a perfect potion, impressing Slughorn. Harry wins a vial of Felix Felicis, liquid luck. The mystery of the Half-Blood Prince's identity begins. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Harry finds the Half-Blood Prince's textbook during Slughorn's very first class. In the movie, this moment is delayed and presented more casually. The book gives a detailed description of the Draught of Living Death and Harry's step-by-step improvements using the notes. The movie shows this in a simplified, more visual sequence. The Felix Felicis reward is shown in both, but the book's explanation of its properties is more thorough and detailed. Hermione's suspicion and annoyance at Harry's success with the textbook is much stronger in the book than in the film. That wraps up Chapter 9, The Half-Blood Prince. This chapter marks a turning point in Harry's potions career, transforming him from an average student into Slughorn's star pupil. But it also introduces one of the most intriguing mysteries of the book: who is the Half-Blood Prince? This question will follow Harry until the truth is finally revealed much later. What do you think? Was Hermione right to be suspicious, or was Harry right to trust the mysterious notes? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 10, The House of Gaunt. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The House of Gaunt. This chapter takes us deep into the past, uncovering the unsettling roots of Lord Voldemort's family history. Through one of Dumbledore's collected memories, Harry witnesses a dark and disturbing chapter in wizarding history, a story of bloodlines, obsession with purity, and the circumstances that led to the birth of the Dark Lord himself. The chapter begins with Harry once again summoned to Dumbledore's office for another lesson. After the previous exploration into Voldemort's childhood, Harry is both anxious and curious about what he will learn this time. Dumbledore reminds Harry that understanding Voldemort's origins and motivations is essential to defeating him, and then introduces the next memory, that of Bob Ogden, a Ministry of Magic official who once encountered Voldemort's maternal family. As the memory begins, Harry finds himself transported to a gloomy country lane. The surroundings are bleak and oppressive, reflecting the decay of the area. Soon, he notices Bob Ogden, a short wizard in shabby robes, carrying a case of ministry papers and looking uneasy as he makes his way toward a rundown shack. The shack belongs to the Gaunt family, distant descendants of Salazar Slytherin himself. Inside the hovel, Harry witnesses a disturbing scene. The family consists of Marvolo Gaunt, his son Morphin, and his daughter Merope. The Gaunts are impoverished and live in squalor, but they cling fanatically to their pure-blood heritage. Their dilapidated home contains little of value except for a few heirlooms, a ring with the symbol of the Peverils and a locket that once belonged to Salazar Slytherin. Both objects will later become crucial Horcruxes. Ogden's visit concerns Morphin, who attacked a Muggle neighbor by jinxing him for no reason. When Ogden tries to deliver a summons, Marvolo erupts in fury, boasting of his family's noble blood and belittling Muggles. Morphin is openly violent, and Merope is treated with cruelty and contempt by her father and brother. They call her useless, a squib, and shame her for her apparent lack of magical skill. During the visit, Harry observes a pivotal moment: Merope's timid fascination with a handsome young Muggle riding by on a horse, Tom Riddle, Sr. Her father and brother mock her for this interest, viewing it as disgraceful. The memory ends in chaos as Ogden retreats, having narrowly escaped violence. Back in Dumbledore's office, Harry and Dumbledore discuss what they have seen. Dumbledore explains the significance: this is the family from which Voldemort descended. Merope Gaunt, broken and mistreated, would eventually use magic to enchant Tom Riddle Sr. into marrying her. Their union produced Tom Marvolo Riddle, the boy who would become Lord Voldemort. Dumbledore also emphasizes that Voldemort's obsession with blood purity and power has its roots in this twisted family history. Despite being of noble magical descent, the Gaunts were consumed by their arrogance and hatred, leading to their downfall. Voldemort inherited not only their bloodline but also their obsession with legacy and domination. This chapter is essential because it connects Voldemort to the legendary Salazar Slytherin, explains his family background, and begins to reveal the origins of some of the dark objects he later transforms into Horcruxes. Key moments in the chapter include: Harry's second private lesson with Dumbledore begins. Introduction to Bob Ogden's memory and his ministry mission. First appearance of the Gaunt family, Marvolo, Morphin, and Merope. Display of the Gaunt heirlooms, the Peveril ring and Slytherin's locket. Merope's fascination with Tom Riddle Sr., foreshadowing Voldemort's conception. Dumbledore's explanation of Voldemort's ancestry and its implications. Differences between the book and the movie: the entire Gaunt family memory is missing from the movie. The film skips over Voldemort's ancestry and jumps straight into other memories. In the book, we clearly see the abuse Merope suffered and the Gaunt's obsession with pure-blood heritage, while the movie omits this vital backstory. The heirlooms, ring and locket, are introduced here in the book, but in the movie they are shown later without the same context. That wraps up Chapter 10, The House of Gaunt. This chapter is one of the darkest and most important in the series, as it uncovers Voldemort's tragic and twisted lineage. Understanding his family's cruelty and obsession with power gives us deeper insight into why Voldemort became who he is. What do you think about Merope's story? Was she a victim of her family, or was she wrong to use magic to control Tom Riddle Sr.? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 11. Hermione's Helping Hand. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Hermione's Helping Hand. This chapter marks a turning point for Harry as he discovers the value of the old potions textbook filled with mysterious notes, sparking both success and suspicion in equal measure. The day begins with the 6th years attending their first potions lesson with Professor Horace Slughorn. Harry had not expected to be in this class, since he hadn't purchased the required new textbook, but Dumbledore's encouragement and Slughorn's enthusiasm for talent have secured his place. As the students file into the dungeon classroom, Slughorn beams at them. Proud to be teaching once again. He instructs the class to brew the draught of living death, a complex potion known for its difficulty even among advanced students. On the front desk, Slughorn displays a shimmering bottle of Felix Felicis, or liquid luck, which he promises to award to the student who produces the best potion. The prize immediately raises the stakes. Harry, however, finds himself without a new book. Instead, he is handed an old, battered copy of Advanced Potion Making. To his surprise, the book is filled with handwritten notes in the margins, small corrections to the printed instructions, and clever shortcuts that claim to improve potion-making techniques. Curious and slightly desperate, Harry decides to follow the mysterious advice. As the brewing begins, chaos quickly fills the classroom. Students fumble with their ingredients, fumes rise, and many cauldrons bubble dangerously. Yet Harry, carefully following the scribbled notes, finds his potion progressing smoothly. Where the book suggests crushing ingredients a different way or stirring in a unique pattern, Harry obeys, and the results astonish him. Meanwhile, Hermione works diligently but struggles to achieve perfection. Her potion is decent but nowhere near Harry's flawless result. Ron, as usual, muddles along, not particularly talented but determined. As the class ends, Harry's cauldron contains a potion that matches the textbook's description exactly. Slughorn is overjoyed, declaring Harry the winner and presenting him with the glittering bottle of Felix Felicis. Ron cheers his friend enthusiastically, while Hermione looks troubled. To her, Harry's success feels undeserved, since he relied on someone else's notes instead of his own knowledge. Harry, however, is simply delighted with his prize, tucking it safely away. Later, in the Gryffindor common room, the trio discusses the potion class. Ron is impressed and thrilled by the idea of liquid luck, imagining all the ways it could help. Harry is quietly intrigued by the mysterious book and its unknown owner, who calls themselves the Half-Blood Prince. Hermione, however, is deeply uneasy. She argues that Harry is taking advice from a stranger whose intentions he doesn't know. What if the notes were dangerous? What if the shortcuts contained hidden risks? Despite her concerns, Harry continues to defend the book. For him, the notes proved their worth in class and brought him a victory he otherwise wouldn't have had. The trio's discussion reveals an important tension, the question of whether it's right to rely on unknown help. Even when it brings success, the chapter closes with a sense of mystery. Harry now possesses both Felix Felicis and a powerful new advantage in potions, but Hermione's suspicions cast a shadow over his triumph. Who is the Half-Blood Prince, and why did they fill this old book with secrets? The answers remain hidden, but their importance will only grow. Key moments in the chapter include: Slughorn introduces his first potions lesson and the prize of Felix Felicis. Harry discovers the old potions book full of handwritten notes. Following the notes, Harry brews a flawless draught of living death. Slughorn awards Harry the bottle of Felix Felicis. Hermione grows suspicious of the mysterious Half-Blood Prince. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the potion challenge and Harry's flawless success with the prince's instructions are explained in great detail, showing how he follows each step differently. The movie simplifies this moment, skipping over many of the detailed brewing instructions and focusing instead on the rivalry between students in class. Hermione's disapproval is clearer in the book, while in the movie, her suspicion feels less emphasized. That wraps up Chapter 11, Hermione's Helping Hand. This chapter introduces one of the most important mysteries of the sixth book, the identity and influence of the Half-Blood Prince. Harry's success may seem like luck, but Hermione's warnings remind us that shortcuts can come with hidden dangers. What do you think? Was Harry right to trust the notes, or should he have listened to Hermione? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 12, Silver and Opals. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 12 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Silver and Opals. This chapter takes us through a chilling incident in Hogsmeade that foreshadows the growing danger outside Hogwarts walls. From a mysterious cursed necklace to Harry's deepening suspicions about Draco Malfoy, the tension of the wizarding world bleeds directly into the students' lives. Let's explore the events, key moments, and differences between the book and the movie. The chapter begins with Harry's determination to convince Dumbledore that Draco Malfoy is involved with the Death Eaters. After witnessing Draco's odd behavior in Borgin and Burke's back in Nocturne Alley, Harry is sure that Malfoy is up to something sinister. Ron and Hermione, however, are still skeptical, though Hermione admits Draco has been acting strangely. Meanwhile, the trio's focus shifts when a Hogsmeade weekend arrives. Harry, Ron, and Hermione join the rest of the students in heading down to the village for a break from castle life. Hogsmeade, usually a place of comfort and excitement, now feels different under the weight of looming danger. Aurors and other security measures patrol the streets, and everyone is watchful. During their visit, the group stops at Honeyduke's before deciding to head over to the Three Broomsticks for a warm drink. On the way, they encounter Mundungus Fletcher being thrown out of the Hog's Head by Madame Rosmerta. Harry realizes with shock and anger that Mundungus has been selling Black family heirlooms that were stolen from Grimmauld Place, including items that belong to Sirius. Harry is furious, but Tonks arrives to defuse the situation before it escalates further. After this disruption, Harry, Ron, and Hermione continue their day in Hogsmeade, but the festive mood is soon shattered. As they walk through the village, a sudden commotion breaks out near Madame Rosmerta's inn. Katie Bell, a Gryffindor chaser, has been mysteriously cursed after touching a package she was carrying. Screams fill the air as Katie levitates into the air, writhing in pain. Before her friends lower her carefully to the ground, it is soon revealed that Katie was under the influence of a cursed object, a beautiful opalescent necklace wrapped in brown paper. When touched, it unleashed a dark curse of immense power. Harry immediately recalls seeing the very same necklace in Borgin and Burke's when Draco Malfoy was there. He believes this is proof of Draco's involvement with the Death Eaters. Hermione and Ron still hesitate to accept Harry's theory, suggesting other explanations. Professor McGonagall arrives at the scene and takes charge. Katie is sent to St. Mungo's Hospital for treatment, while the necklace is secured. McGonagall questions the group about what happened, and Harry again raises his suspicions about Draco. McGonagall, however, dismisses the accusation, pointing out that Draco was with his mother when Katie acquired the necklace. This frustrates Harry further, but his suspicions remain unshaken. The chapter closes on a chilling note. The cursed necklace is just another reminder that Voldemort's reach extends far beyond the castle, and nowhere, neither Hogsmeade nor Hogwarts, is truly safe anymore. Key moments in the chapter include Harry pressing his suspicions about Malfoy's activities in connection to the Death Eaters. The trio's trip to Hogsmeade, showing how the war has changed the village's atmosphere. Harry's furious confrontation with Mundungus Fletcher over stolen Black family heirlooms. The shocking incident where Katie Bell touches the cursed necklace and is nearly killed. The return of the opal necklace from Borgin and Burke's, tying Malfoy's earlier visit to this event. McGonagall's dismissal of Harry's suspicions, adding to Harry's frustration. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the cursed necklace incident involves Katie Bell, who touches it and suffers immediately. In the movie, the incident is altered. Katie is shown being cursed under the Imperious Curse, floating into the air dramatically in the woods, making it more visually striking but less true to the source. The confrontation between Harry and Mundungus Fletcher over Sirius's possessions is entirely omitted from the movie. This deletion removes an important emotional beat for Harry's grief and Mundungus's shady role. The overall pacing of Hogsmeade visits is much richer in the book, while in the film these are condensed or cut out to focus on the main Voldemort plotline. That wraps up Chapter 12, Silver and Opals. This chapter is a turning point. It shows how Voldemort's terror isn't limited to battles far away but is creeping directly into everyday life for Hogwarts students. The cursed necklace becomes one of the most chilling reminders that danger is always lurking, even in places that once seemed safe. What did you think about the cursed necklace incident? Do you agree with Harry that Malfoy was behind it, or do you think his suspicions are clouded by bias? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 13, The Secret Riddle. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 13 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Secret Riddle. This chapter takes us deep into the past as Dumbledore begins showing Harry more memories about Voldemort's origins. For the first time, Harry learns about Tom Riddle's childhood and the dark traits that were present in him even before he entered Hogwarts. The chapter begins with Harry meeting Dumbledore for another private lesson. As usual, Harry is eager to know what memory Dumbledore will reveal next. Dumbledore explains that in order to understand Voldemort, Harry must first know his beginnings, because knowing the boy Tom Riddle is the only way to comprehend the man he became. Dumbledore pulls out a small glass vial containing a memory, and the two of them step into the pensive. This time, Harry finds himself transported to a rundown, grey building surrounded by a bleak, rainy landscape. Dumbledore explains that they are standing outside a Muggle orphanage, the place where Tom Riddle spent his early childhood. Harry is curious about why Voldemort grew up here. Dumbledore explains that his mother, Mary P. Gaunt, descended from Salazar Slytherin's bloodline, had fallen in love with a Muggle named Tom Riddle Sr. After using magic to enchant him into marriage, she became pregnant. However, when she stopped using magic to hold him, Tom Sr. abandoned her. Destitute and heartbroken, she gave birth to a child, Tom Marvolo Riddle, in a Muggle orphanage. She died shortly after childbirth, leaving her son with nothing but his name and his mysterious heritage. Inside the orphanage, Harry sees a matron named Mrs. Cole, who recalls Tom Riddle as a strange and unsettling boy. She tells Dumbledore that odd things happen around him, other children are frightened of him, and animals in the area sometimes go missing. Mrs. Cole recounts an incident where Tom led two other children into a cave and returned alone, leaving them terrified but unable to explain what had happened. Mrs. Cole then leads them to Tom Riddle himself, a dark-haired, pale boy with a cold and calculating look in his eyes. Even at this young age, Tom seems arrogant, distrustful, and unervingly self-sufficient. Dumbledore sits with the boy and begins asking questions. Tom quickly reveals that he knows he can make things happen by will alone, like hurting others or controlling animals. Dumbledore calmly explains that Tom is a wizard and that he will be given a place at a school called Hogwarts, where he can learn to control and channel his abilities. Tom is both intrigued and suspicious. He admits that he has always known he was special and resents the other children around him. His first questions are about whether Hogwarts will teach him how to make others fear him, confirming the darkness already rooted in his heart. To demonstrate the existence of magic beyond Tom's own powers, Dumbledore performs a small spell, causing objects around the room to move. Tom is fascinated but still cautious, and even at 11 years old, he shows a hunger for control and superiority over others. The memory ends, and Harry and Dumbledore rise from the pensive. Harry is unsettled by the coldness of young Tom and wonders if Voldemort was always destined to become evil. Dumbledore, however, stresses the importance of choice. Though Riddle's circumstances were grim, many others from difficult backgrounds did not become what he became. What set Tom apart was his desire for domination and his refusal to accept love or friendship. This chapter is a turning point because it reveals that Voldemort's cruelty and hunger for power were not born from trauma alone, but were inherent in his personality from an early age. Dumbledore warns Harry that understanding these truths will be key to ultimately defeating him. Key moments in the chapter include: Dumbledore brings Harry into the pensive for another lesson. The orphanage where Tom Riddle grew up is revealed. Mrs. Cole describes Tom's strange and frightening behavior. Tom Riddle's first conversation with Dumbledore, showing his arrogance and hunger for power. Harry learns that Tom's mother died after childbirth, leaving him abandoned. Dumbledore highlights that Voldemort's choices, not his circumstances, defined who he became. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Mrs. Cole explains in detail Tom's disturbing childhood incidents, including the cave incident and animal disappearances. In the movie, this is cut short, and only the meeting between Dumbledore and young Tom is shown. The book provides background on Mary P. Gaunt's death, while the film skips this and moves straight into the orphanage visit. The book emphasizes Dumbledore's warnings about choice and destiny, while the movie makes the interaction more focused on the eerie atmosphere. That wraps up Chapter 13, The Secret Riddle. This chapter is one of the most chilling in the series, as it paints a portrait of Voldemort not as a tragic victim but as a boy who relished power, cruelty, and fear. It deepens our understanding of his character and shows why Dumbledore insists Harry must learn about Voldemort's past. What do you think? Was Tom Riddle always destined to become Voldemort, or could he have chosen another path? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 14. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 14 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Felix Felicis. This chapter takes us deeper into Harry's 6th year at Hogwarts, where the mystery of Draco Malfoy intensifies, tensions rise between friends, and Professor Slughorn introduces a potion that could change the fate of anyone lucky enough to drink it. The chapter opens with Harry sharing his strong suspicions about Draco Malfoy with Ron and Hermione. Harry firmly believes that Malfoy is up to something dark, possibly even serving Voldemort directly. He is convinced that Draco is plotting something sinister within Hogwarts. However, Hermione and Ron remain doubtful, dismissing Harry's theory as far-fetched. They suggest that Malfoy might just be trying to act important rather than being an actual Death Eater. This disagreement creates a slight tension among the trio, as Harry's certainty clashes with his friend's skepticism. As the days go by, Hogwarts life resumes its rhythm. Classes continue, and potions with Professor Slughorn take center stage. Slughorn remains as charming and self-serving as ever, always seeking to collect connections to famous or talented students. He calls Harry the chosen one with ease, further boosting Harry's popularity among classmates, though Harry himself remains uncomfortable with the label. In one memorable potions lesson, Slughorn introduces the class to several new and advanced brews, each fascinating in its own way. Among them, he showcases the powerful Felix Felicis, also known as Liquid Luck. This potion grants the drinker extraordinary luck for a limited time, ensuring success in whatever they attempt. However, it is notoriously difficult to brew correctly, and even slight mistakes can make it dangerous. Slughorn presents the shimmering, golden potion to the class, its surface glowing like molten sunlight. He then announces a competition. Whichever student produces the best potion during the lesson will win a small vial of Felix Felicis. This sparks intense excitement, as the reward could potentially change a student's entire academic year or even their life. Harry, Ron, Hermione, and the others get to work brewing the assigned potion. As always, Harry relies on the Half-Blood Prince's annotated copy of advanced potion making. The prince's scribbled instructions prove invaluable once again, guiding Harry to make subtle adjustments that result in a flawless potion. Hermione, meanwhile, grows increasingly frustrated at Harry's mysterious advantage. Though her own potion is excellent, Harry's is judged to be the best by far. True to his word, Slughorn awards Harry the tiny bottle of Felix Felicis. The golden liquid inside seems to glow with promise, and the class stares in awe. Slughorn warns Harry to use it wisely, for Felix Felicis is rare and precious and not to be wasted on trivial matters. After class, Hermione scolds Harry for relying so heavily on the prince's notes rather than his own skill. She's concerned that he's blindly following instructions from an unknown source. Harry, however, insists that the book is simply helping him unlock his potential. The disagreement highlights the growing tension between Harry and Hermione, particularly over the ethics of using shortcuts. Later, Harry revisits his concerns about Malfoy. He's more certain than ever that Draco is plotting with the Death Eaters. Ron and Hermione still don't believe him, pointing out that Draco is too young and inexperienced to be entrusted with Voldemort's schemes. Harry refuses to back down, promising to find proof no matter what. The chapter closes with a sense of unease. While the golden potion of luck symbolizes opportunity and hope, the shadows of doubt, mistrust, and looming danger remain ever present at Hogwarts. The stage is set for Harry to use his hard-won prize at just the right moment, but also for the mysteries of Malfoy and Voldemort's plot to deepen further. Key moments in the chapter include Harry insisting that Draco Malfoy is a Death Eater and plotting within Hogwarts, Ron and Hermione dismissing Harry's suspicions as paranoia, Professor Slughorn introducing advanced potions, including Felix Felicis, Liquid Luck, the class competing to brew the best potion for a chance to win Felix Felicis, Harry succeeding by using the Half-Blood Prince's annotations and winning the vial, Hermione expressing concern about Harry's reliance on the mysterious prince's instructions. The contrast between the hopeful golden potion and the dark suspicions surrounding Malfoy. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Harry wins the Felix Felicis during a lesson with Slughorn. The brewing competition and Harry's use of the prince's notes are clearly shown. In the movie, this entire competition is shifted, and the sequence is simplified. Harry does get Felix Felicis, but the explanation of the potion and its significance is less detailed. The tension between Harry and Hermione over the Half-Blood Prince's notes is much stronger in the book, while the film softens Hermione's disapproval. The book gives greater focus to Harry's ongoing obsession with Malfoy's suspicious behavior, whereas the movie compresses this subplot. That wraps up chapter 14. Felix Felicis. This chapter brilliantly contrasts hope and luck with doubt and mistrust. While Harry wins a powerful potion that could tip the scales in his favor, he remains haunted by his suspicions of Malfoy and the shadows of Voldemort's influence. It's a turning point where luck enters the story as both a tool and a symbol of fate. What do you think? If you had a vial of Felix Felicis, would you use it for something small and personal, or to face a great challenge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Pushpin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated as we continue through Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Unbreakable Vow. This chapter shifts the story into darker, more suspenseful territory as it reveals secret alliances, family conflicts, and one of the most dangerous magical oaths in the wizarding world. The chapter begins at Hogwarts, where the festive Christmas holidays are just around the corner. Snow blankets the castle grounds, and students are eager for the break. However, tension runs high. Slughorn throws a lavish Christmas party, but it's the events afterward that steal the spotlight. Harry, determined to dig deeper into Malfoy's suspicious behavior, continues to watch him closely. Despite Ron and Hermione being skeptical, Harry grows more convinced that Malfoy is working for Voldemort. The trio's relationship remains strained. Ron is still wrapped up in his romance with Lavender Brown, while Hermione keeps her distance, hurt but still present in their circle. Slughorn's Christmas party is an extravagant affair, filled with food, laughter, and gossip. Harry attends with Luna Lovegood as his guest, surprising many but endearing himself to fans of Luna's quirky charm. Slughorn entertains a wide variety of guests, from students to influential figures like Professor Slughorn's old friend, Gwenog Jones of the Holyhead Harpies, and Cormac McLagan, who tries, and fails, to impress Hermione. Amid the festivities, Draco Malfoy sneaks away. Suspicious, Harry tries to follow him, but is intercepted by Professor Snape, who engages Harry in a chilling conversation about arrogance, recklessness, and the burdens of fame. Snape's sharp criticisms only deepen Harry's dislike and mistrust of him. After the party, Snape discovers Malfoy lurking in the corridors. The scene shifts into a crucial moment. Harry secretly overhears a tense exchange between Snape and Draco. Malfoy accuses Snape of interfering in his mission, insisting he doesn't need help. Snape, however, insists he is bound by an unbreakable vow he made to Narcissa Malfoy, a vow that forces him to protect Draco and, if necessary, complete his mission should Draco fail. This shocking revelation shakes Harry to his core. It confirms two things: Draco is indeed involved in a deadly plan connected to Voldemort, and Snape has made an oath that ties him directly to Voldemort's scheme. For Harry, this is damning evidence. His suspicions about both Malfoy and Snape appear justified. The chapter ends on a dramatic, uneasy note. While festive cheer surrounds the castle, the darker forces gathering outside Hogwarts are making their moves. The unbreakable vow binds Snape in ways Harry barely understands, setting the stage for betrayal, loyalty, and sacrifice. Key moments in Chapter 15. The Unbreakable Vow. Slughorn hosts a grand Christmas party, showing his flair for networking. Harry takes Luna Lovegood as his guest, delighting fans of her eccentric character. Draco Malfoy slips away from the party, clearly up to something secretive. Snape confronts Harry, reinforcing their rivalry and mutual distrust. Harry overhears Snape and Malfoy's conversation. Snape reveals he made an unbreakable vow with Narcissa Malfoy to protect Draco and assist in his mission. Harry gains confirmation of his suspicions: Malfoy is indeed working for Voldemort. Differences between book and movie. In the book, the Slug Club Christmas party is detailed, including Luna attending as Harry's guest and McLagan's attempts to charm Hermione. The film drastically shortens the party, excluding many of these interactions and focusing instead on Slughorn's eccentric personality. Harry's overhearing of Snape and Draco's conversation is far more detailed in the book, making it a turning point for Harry's mistrust of Snape. The movie condenses this scene heavily. The unbreakable vow scene is actually shown at the start of the movie, in Spinner's Inn with Snape, Bellatrix, and Narcissa, whereas in the book, Harry only learns about it here by eavesdropping. That wraps up Chapter 15, The Unbreakable Vow. This chapter is pivotal. It cements Draco's secret mission, exposes Snape's dangerous promise, and heightens the tension as the story accelerates toward darker revelations. What do you think? Did Snape make the unbreakable vow out of loyalty to Voldemort, or for deeper reasons we don't yet see? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 16, A Very Frosty Christmas. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today we're exploring Chapter 16 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, A Very Frosty Christmas. This chapter shifts away from Hogwarts as Harry spends the holidays at the Burrow, where family warmth collides with the cold reality of war. Harry, Ron, and Hermione arrive at the Burrow, welcomed by Molly Weasley's motherly fussing. The house is as cozy as ever, but conversations keep circling back to grim news, raids, disappearances, and deaths filling the Daily Prophet. Ginny is around too, and Harry finds himself noticing her more often, though he keeps those feelings buried out of loyalty to Ron. Bill and Fleur are also present, their engagements still irritating Molly and Ginny. Fleur's confidence and style clash with the Weasley women's practicality, creating awkward family tension. Fred and George drop in from their busy joke shop, which is thriving partly because their protective products double as defense items in these dark times. Even laughter has a sharp edge in the current climate. Arthur Weasley comes home late from the Ministry, looking weary. He shares troubling updates. The Ministry is trying to crack down on fake protective charms, but the effort is chaotic, underfunded, and often misdirected. Dangerous dark objects are slipping into circulation, and fraudsters exploit people's fear. His words reveal how the Ministry is struggling to maintain control and often prioritizes appearances over real solutions. Christmas Eve is spent with gifts and food, but the shadow of Voldemort is never far. The Weasley family remains fractured by Percy's absence, his loyalty to the Ministry a wound that still stings. Even amid Molly's cheerful attempts at holiday warmth, his name lingers in the air like frost. On Christmas Day, that frost becomes real when Percy suddenly appears, accompanied by Minister Rufus Scrimgeour. Molly is overjoyed to see her estranged son, believing the rift is healed, but the reunion is hollow. Scrimgeour has orchestrated Percy's visit for his own purposes, and Percy leaves almost as quickly as he came. Molly is devastated, while the rest of the family seethes at how their pain was manipulated. Scrimgeour then pulls Harry aside, taking him into the snowy orchard. What follows is one of Harry's most defining conversations of the book. The minister asks Harry to cooperate with the Ministry, not for actual assistance, but to act as a symbol, the Ministry's chosen one. He suggests that Harry's presence alongside officials would reassure the public, and even probes him for information about Dumbledore, but Harry is no longer the boy who passively accepted authority. He sees through Scrimgeour's motives and refuses to be used. He calls out the Ministry's failures, especially the imprisonment of Stan Shunpike, a clear example of scapegoating for the sake of appearances. Harry insists that truth matters more than propaganda. When Scrimgeour questions Dumbledore, Harry delivers his firm declaration: he is Dumbledore's man through and through. The minister, frustrated, tries to hint at consequences and surveillance, but Harry stands tall. His loyalty, independence, and moral clarity shine in this exchange, proving he's grown into someone who can face authority without fear. When Harry returns inside, the mood at the Burrow is a mixture of bitterness and pride. Molly is heartbroken over Percy, but the rest of the family supports Harry's decision to resist Scrimgeour's manipulations. The chapter closes not on a note of festive cheer, but of quiet resolve. Harry has made his stance clear, aligning himself with truth and loyalty, even when it pits him against power. Key moments in the chapter include Christmas at the Burrow, warm but overshadowed by grim news of Voldemort's growing power. Fleur's presence continuing to create tension with Molly and Ginny. Arthur Weasley's Ministry updates, showing corruption and inefficiency. Percy's staged return on Christmas Day, orchestrated by Scrimgeour. Scrimgeour's attempt to recruit Harry as a Ministry figurehead. Harry refusing to be used as propaganda and calling out Stan Shunpike's wrongful imprisonment. Harry declaring himself Dumbledore's man through and through. Differences between the book and the movie. The Christmas at the Burrow scenes, including Scrimgeour's confrontation with Harry, are completely cut from the film. The movie instead invents a Death Eater attack on the Burrow, which never happens in the book. Percy's manipulated return is omitted, removing a key emotional blow to Molly Weasley. The book's critique of the Ministry through Stan Shunpike's case is absent, softening its political themes. Harry's declaration of loyalty to Dumbledore is also lost in the film. That wraps up Chapter 16, A Very Frosty Christmas. This chapter highlights Harry's growing maturity and refusal to bow to authority when it clashes with truth. What do you think? Was Harry right to reject Scrimgeour, even though it risked making the Ministry his enemy? What do you think? Should the movie have kept Harry's confrontation with Scrimgeour? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more magical chapter breakdowns. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're exploring Chapter 17 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled A Sluggish Memory. This chapter takes us deeper into Dumbledore's lessons with Harry, introducing one of the most important mysteries in the series, the secret of Horcruxes. Life at Hogwarts is settling into its mid-year rhythm, but excitement is building as the Ministry of Magic has agreed to provide apparition lessons for students of age. It's a major step for the 6th years, who can soon test for their licenses. Ron, Harry, and Hermione, though eager, are disappointed that Harry and Ron must wait until their birthdays later in the year before they can legally attempt it. The school buzzes with nervous anticipation, and even younger students whisper enviously about learning how to vanish and reappear instantly. In the midst of this, Harry continues to notice Ginny spending time with Dean Thomas, which stirs frustration and jealousy he tries to suppress. The conflict simmers quietly, showing Harry's growing but unspoken feelings for Ginny, a thread that runs through this book. But the main event of the chapter arrives when Harry is once again summoned to Dumbledore's office for another private lesson. The headmaster looks frilier than before, his hands still blackened and withered from the mysterious injury. Nevertheless, his focus is sharp, and he has prepared something crucial for Harry. Dumbledore produces a small vial containing a memory obtained from Professor Slughorn. He explains that this recollection concerns Tom Riddle during his years at Hogwarts. But there is a problem. The memory has been tampered with. Harry watches as Dumbledore pours the substance into the pensieve. Inside, he sees a younger Slughorn sitting in his office, surrounded by shelves of potions and fine trinkets. Tom Riddle enters politely with a group of Slytherin friends, who soon leave, allowing Riddle to stay behind. The teenage Riddle, already handsome and persuasive, tries to charm Slughorn into sharing forbidden knowledge. He begins to ask about Horcruxes, a branch of dark magic so vile that even mentioning it causes discomfort. But just when the conversation grows most significant, the scene becomes blurred. Slughorn's voice distorts, repeating lines unnaturally, and the memory ends abruptly. It is painfully clear that Slughorn has altered his own memory, covering up the true conversation. Harry, confused, turns to Dumbledore, who confirms that Slughorn is hiding something deeply important. The concept of Horcruxes, murder used to split the soul and hide fragments in objects to achieve immortality, could explain how Voldemort survived his downfall. But without the unaltered memory, their understanding is incomplete. Dumbledore stresses the gravity of the situation. Harry must persuade Slughorn to hand over the real memory. This is not a task that can be forced. Slughorn is a man who thrives on influence and reputation, and any attempt to corner him would backfire. Instead, Harry must rely on his own skills of persuasion, patience, and trust-building to succeed. Leaving the lesson, Harry feels the weight of this new responsibility. He knows Slughorn is slippery, often evasive, and reluctant to face uncomfortable truths. Yet Dumbledore has made it clear, retrieving this memory is essential for defeating Voldemort. Key moments in the chapter include apparition lessons announced at Hogwarts, sparking excitement and nervousness among 6th years. Harry's jealousy of Ginny's relationship with Dean, revealing his growing feelings. Harry's visit to Dumbledore's office for their next lesson. Viewing Slughorn's tampered memory in the pensieve. The blurred reference to Horcruxes, hinting at Voldemort's dark path to immortality. Dumbledore's crucial mission for Harry, obtain the true memory from Slughorn. Differences between the book and the movie. The book includes detailed excitement and training for apparition, while the film barely mentions it. Harry's jealousy toward Ginny is more subtle but consistent in the book, whereas the movie rushes this relationship arc. In the novel, the tampered memory is carefully shown as a corrupted, altered scene. In the film, it is presented more dramatically but without the same layered detail. Dumbledore's instructions to Harry about persuading Slughorn are clearer in the book, giving Harry's mission greater narrative weight. Chapter 17, A Sluggish Memory, shifts the story into darker territory. What seems at first like another lesson soon reveals itself to be one of the most critical missions Harry will face, convincing Slughorn to reveal the truth about Horcruxes. This chapter highlights Voldemort's obsession with immortality, Dumbledore's growing frailty, and Harry's increasing role in shaping the future of the wizarding world. That wraps up Chapter 17. What do you think? Will Harry succeed in breaking through Slughorn's defenses, or will the professor's fear keep the secret buried? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 18, Birthday Surprises. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 18 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Birthday Surprises. This chapter shifts from cheerful celebrations to sudden danger, reminding us how closely joy and peril walk together in the wizarding world. The chapter begins with Harry's birthday morning. He wakes in the Gryffindor dormitory to find gifts from his friends. Ron and Hermione, along with Ginny and others, make sure Harry's special day feels warm and memorable. Their laughter and companionship brighten the common room, creating a rare moment of simple happiness for Harry. For a boy who had never known true birthday celebrations in his early life, these tokens of friendship are deeply meaningful. Later, Harry and his friends attend a small gathering hosted by Professor Slughorn. Known for his love of good company, Slughorn puts on a cheerful display of food, drink, and lively conversation. He delights in surrounding himself with promising students, and the atmosphere feels lighthearted. Ginny, Hermione, Harry, and others enjoy the spread, while Slughorn entertains them with his jovial manner. However, the cheer of the evening is shattered when Slughorn presents a bottle of mead. This bottle, originally intended as a gift for Dumbledore, had been kept aside for some time. Slughorn casually opens it, intending to share it with his students. Unbeknownst to them all, the bottle is cursed poisoned with deadly intent. Ron, always eager for a taste, ends up drinking first. Almost immediately, he collapses, his face turning blue as the poison courses through his body. The room erupts in panic. Hermione cries out, and Slughorn fumbles in shock, horrified by what has happened. But in this moment of chaos, Harry acts with clarity and speed. Remembering Snape's lesson from years before about bezoars, stone-like objects found in a goat's stomach that can neutralize most poisons, he rushes to Ron's side. Without hesitation, Harry shoves a bezoar into Ron's mouth, forcing him to swallow. The effect is almost immediate. Ron begins to recover, his breathing easing though he remains pale and weak. Hermione clutches his hand in relief, while Slughorn is shaken to the core, realizing how close the evening came to tragedy. The chapter's conclusion leaves a heavy shadow. What should have been a day of joy and celebration for Harry instead becomes a near disaster. The poisoning reminds everyone that Voldemort's shadow stretches everywhere, and danger lurks even in seemingly harmless places like a birthday gathering. Key moments in the chapter include Harry's cheerful birthday celebrations with friends, Slughorn's lively gathering, full of food and laughter, the poisoned mead intended for Dumbledore, Ron's sudden collapse from poisoning, Harry's quick thinking with the bezoar, saving Ron's life. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, the poisoning is tied directly to Harry's birthday, contrasting warmth and danger. The movie shifts this event, showing Ron poisoned after drinking mead at the Three Broomsticks, removing the birthday setting and altering the emotional impact. The book's version feels sharper because it highlights how joy can be shattered in an instant. That wraps up Chapter 18, Birthday Surprises. This chapter shows how Harry's knowledge, once dismissed as classroom trivia, becomes a life-saving tool. What do you think? Was this Harry's best moment of quick thinking magic? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for Chapter 19. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today we're exploring Chapter 19 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Elf Tales. This chapter follows the fallout after Ron's near-death experience, the ongoing mystery of Draco Malfoy's activities, and the growing tension at Hogwarts as danger looms ever closer. The chapter begins in the hospital wing, where Ron is recovering after accidentally drinking poison mead meant for Dumbledore. Madame Pomfrey has him under strict watch, but Harry, Hermione, Ginny, and the rest of the Weasley family are deeply shaken. The incident has made everyone realize how close danger is. Even within the walls of Hogwarts, Harry becomes increasingly certain that Draco Malfoy is behind these attacks. He shares his suspicions with Hermione and Ron, insisting that Draco is acting on Voldemort's orders. Hermione, however, is not entirely convinced. She tries to reason with Harry, saying that Draco being capable of such dark deeds hasn't been proven. Ron, though still pale and weak, leans toward supporting Harry's hunch. Meanwhile, Hagrid pays Ron a visit and ends up revealing something unusual. He saw Draco and Snape arguing in the Forbidden Forest. Hagrid overheard Draco shouting at Snape to stay away from him and insisting that he didn't need help with his mission. This revelation adds fuel to Harry's suspicions. If Draco has been given a task by Voldemort, Snape's involvement complicates things further. Harry feels both vindicated and frustrated. He knows he is right about Draco, but he cannot convince the adults in authority, particularly Dumbledore, who seems to trust Snape implicitly. The tension grows heavier as Harry reflects on how isolated he feels in carrying the burden of these suspicions. Later, Harry finds himself worrying about Quidditch practice. With Ron recovering, he must reshuffle the team, giving Cormac McLaggen a chance to play keeper. McLaggen, however, proves to be an arrogant and disruptive presence. His tendency to criticize and undermine his teammates throws the entire practice session into chaos. Harry quickly regrets ever allowing him on the team. To make matters worse, Katie Bell has not returned to school since her cursed necklace attack earlier in the year. With 2 players missing, Gryffindor's team spirit begins to falter. Harry tries to keep morale high, but the upcoming match against Hufflepuff feels uncertain. On top of Quidditch troubles, Harry continues to dwell on Malfoy's possible activities. He notices that Malfoy looks pale and drawn, sometimes disappearing from the Great Hall and missing meals. These absences, coupled with the argument overheard by Hagrid, intensify Harry's obsession with uncovering the truth. Hermione warns Harry that he is becoming fixated, but Harry refuses to let go. The chapter closes on this note of unease. Harry feels surrounded by unanswered questions: Draco's mission, Snape's loyalties, and the increasing danger facing his friends. As Ron recovers slowly, Harry realizes that Hogwarts is no longer safe, and that Voldemort's influence has crept closer than ever before. Key moments in the chapter include Ron's recovery in the hospital wing after being poisoned by the mead intended for Dumbledore, Harry's continued suspicion of Draco Malfoy, despite Hermione's skepticism, Hagrid overhearing Draco and Snape's argument in the Forbidden Forest about a mission, Quidditch troubles with Cormac McLaggen, whose arrogance disrupts practice, Harry's growing sense of isolation, as he feels only he truly sees the threat Malfoy represents. Differences between the book and the movie: the poison mead incident is present in the film, but much of Ron's recovery and the aftermath with Hagrid's revelation are cut entirely. In the movie, Draco and Snape's tension is shown differently, with more direct visual hints of Draco's struggle rather than overheard arguments. The Quidditch subplot with McLaggen is largely minimized in the film, focusing instead on broader themes of romance and Voldemort's return. That wraps up Chapter 19, Elf Tales. This chapter highlights how Voldemort's shadow creeps further into Hogwarts, even as Harry struggles to prove his suspicions about Draco and Snape. Between Ron's near-death experience and the chaos on the Quidditch pitch, Harry realizes that trust and loyalty are more important than ever. What do you think? Was Harry right to be so fixated on Draco, or was Hermione correct to be cautious? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 20, Lord Voldemort's Request. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today we're diving into Chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Lord Voldemort's Request. This chapter pulls us even deeper into Tom Riddle's transformation into Lord Voldemort and reveals the sinister cunning behind his search for magical power and immortality. Harry meets Dumbledore for another private lesson. The headmaster, though looking weaker, is determined to continue their exploration of Voldemort's past. Dumbledore sets the pensieve on the desk, explaining that tonight's memories shed light on how Riddle secured artifacts steeped in Hogwarts history and how he later attempted to infiltrate the school itself. The first memory belongs to Hoki, the elderly house elf of Hepzibah Smith, a wealthy witch with a taste for fine possessions. In it, Tom Riddle, now working for Borgin and Burkes, pays Hepzibah a visit. Ever charming, he flatters her, and she, delighted, shows him her greatest treasures: Salazar Slytherin's locket, once owned by Merope Gaunt, and Helga Hufflepuff's cup, a precious family heirloom. Riddle's expression never breaks, but his eyes gleam with greed and hunger. A few days later, Hepzibah is dead, apparently poisoned, and Hoki is accused of making a mistake. The locket and cup vanish without a trace. Dumbledore explains to Harry that the memory was tampered with. Riddle orchestrated the theft, the death, and the framing, taking 2 more trophies into his possession. Back in the present, Dumbledore notes that Voldemort did not steal at random. He sought founder relics, symbols of Hogwarts' power and history. By turning them into Horcruxes, he would root his immortality not only in dark magic but also in the very legacy of the castle he considered his true home. Dumbledore doesn't yet reveal the full truth about Horcruxes, but Harry can sense the weight of what Voldemort is building. Next comes a memory of Dumbledore's own. 10 years after Hepzibah's death, Tom Riddle returns to Hogwarts. He is older, still handsome, but his appearance is subtly wrong: waxen skin, eyes colder than ever, his very aura unsettling. He insists on being called Lord Voldemort. In polite but chilling words, he requests the defense against the dark arts position. Dumbledore refuses, recognizing both the hunger for influence and the desire to claim Hogwarts as his stronghold. Voldemort leaves, but not before casting a shadow of threat across the office. When the memory ends, Dumbledore tells Harry what followed. From that day on, no defense against the dark arts teacher lasted more than a year. Dumbledore is certain Voldemort cursed the position as revenge for being denied. It was not simply spite, though. Voldemort knew how vital the subject was and wanted to cripple Hogwarts' ability to train future generations to fight him. The lesson closes with Dumbledore stressing Voldemort's nature. He is not only powerful but persuasive, using charm, charisma, and manipulation to recruit followers and ensnare allies. His obsession with Hogwarts, its relics, and its students reveals how deeply he tied his identity to the school. To defeat him, Harry must understand these patterns fully, and the missing piece remains Slughorn's true memory. Key moments in the chapter include Hepzibah Smith's treasures revealed, Riddle covets Slytherin's locket and Hufflepuff's cup. Hepzibah's mysterious death, Hoki is blamed, but Dumbledore suspects memory tampering. Dumbledore's analysis, Voldemort's fixation on founder relics and trophies of power. The job request, a transformed Voldemort asks for the data job, Dumbledore refuses. The cursed position, from then on, no data teacher stays for more than a year. Differences between the book and the movie. Hepzibah and Hoki are omitted. The film cuts the memory of Hepzibah's death and the theft of her relics. No job interview shown. Voldemort's request for the data job and the resulting curse are absent from the movie. Relic obsession minimized. The movie downplays Voldemort's collector's mentality, which the book emphasizes as central to the Horcrux mystery. That wraps up Chapter 20, Lord Voldemort's Request. This chapter reveals Voldemort not just as a tyrant but as a collector of legacies, someone who twists history and heritage into tools of domination. Do you think Voldemort wanted Hogwarts as his true home or simply as another weapon for power? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more Potter fans can join us on this magical journey. Welcome back to Boundless Books. In this video, we are going through Chapter 21, The Unknowable Room from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This chapter adds another layer of mystery to Hogwarts, as Harry finds a hidden room within the castle, a room filled with dust, forgotten objects, and strange magic. Let's explore how Harry discovers this hidden space, what it holds, and how it fits into the growing sense of danger and uncertainty in the story. The chapter begins with Harry wandering through the castle after a restless evening. Hogwarts feels different lately, darker, heavier, and full of secrets. As he walks through a corridor, he stumbles upon a door he's never seen before. The door looks old and worn, with strange runes etched across it. Harry's curiosity takes over, and with his wand at the ready, he opens the door. Inside, the room is like something out of a forgotten part of Hogwarts history. It's filled with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling, dust covering broken chairs and tables, and an eerie silence that makes every creak and flutter of dust sound louder. Floating particles dance in the soft glow of Harry's wand as he steps carefully into the chamber. The room feels untouched for years, almost as if time forgot it. At the center of the room, Harry spots a pedestal covered in dust, and on top of it is a strange object. A soft blue light radiates from it, causing the surrounding shadows to dance along the walls. Harry's eyes widen in surprise and fascination as he draws closer. He is unsure whether it's dangerous or magical, but the room itself feels alive with hidden energy. Harry's mind races. What could this object be? Why is this room kept secret from everyone else? Hogwarts is a place full of hidden chambers and long-forgotten magic, but this room feels different. It's neither dark nor evil, yet it feels full of potential, as though it's waiting for someone to uncover its secrets. Harry hesitates before touching the object, unsure if it might be cursed or protected by some ancient spell. He looks around and notices that the furniture and scattered objects are coated with thick layers of dust, indicating that no one has entered this space for a very long time. The silence adds to the feeling of suspense, and Harry's heart pounds as he carefully approaches the pedestal. After a few tense moments, Harry takes out his wand and examines the room more closely. He waves his wand around, illuminating corners filled with cobwebs and broken objects that once might have been part of Hogwarts' everyday life. He feels both excited and anxious, knowing that discovering this hidden place is part of something bigger, something that may change everything. Though the room holds no immediate threat, it deepens the sense of mystery surrounding Hogwarts in this part of the story. Harry's discovery hints at the layers of secrets the castle holds, secrets that not even the teachers know about. This reinforces the idea that Hogwarts is far more complex and dangerous than it seems. The chapter ends without giving answers but leaves Harry and the readers with a sense of unease and wonder. What is this room's purpose? Why was it sealed away? And what dangers or powers lie hidden inside it? This discovery reflects Harry's growth as a character. He is becoming more aware of the secrets, threats, and magic lurking in the shadows. Even though he feels fear, his curiosity and bravery push him forward. Hogwarts is no longer just a school, it's a living entity filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Key moments in the chapter include, Harry finds the hidden door, a mysterious wooden door with runes that leads to the unknowable room. The eerie atmosphere inside the room, dust-covered furniture, cobwebs, and floating particles create a hauntingly silent space. The glowing artifact, a pedestal with a strange, softly glowing object that hints at forgotten magic and secrets. Harry's reaction, shock, curiosity, and fear as he explores the room, highlighting his bravery and determination. Differences between the book and the movie. The unknowable room does not appear in the film adaptation. Harry's discovery and the magical artifact are unique to the book's storyline, adding depth to Hogwarts' mysteries. The movie focuses more on action and events outside Hogwarts, leaving out quieter moments like this that build suspense and world building. That wraps up Chapter 21, The Unknowable Room. This chapter adds an important layer of mystery to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, reminding us that Hogwarts is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Harry's bravery, curiosity, and growing awareness of danger all come through as he explores this hidden chamber. What do you think this room holds? Is it a new source of magic or something more dangerous? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 22. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 22 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled After the Burial. This chapter deals with the aftermath of Dumbledore's death and how it deeply affects Hogwarts and the wizarding world. Emotions are raw, friendships are tested, and difficult decisions are made as the students and teachers try to process the tragedy. Let's explore how the chapter sets the tone for what's coming next and how the characters cope with grief, anger, and uncertainty. The chapter opens in the immediate aftermath of Dumbledore's death. The castle is filled with sorrow and silence as students and staff struggle to understand what just happened. Harry, having witnessed the events, is still shaken but determined to carry on. Professor McGonagall tries to keep the school together, offering words of comfort to both students and faculty. Hogwarts feels emptier without its headmaster, and the weight of responsibility hangs over everyone. Harry's grief is compounded by guilt and helplessness. He blames himself for Dumbledore's death and wonders if he could have done something to stop it. However, Professor McGonagall urges him to stay strong and focus on what must be done next. She also makes it clear that the school must continue operating despite the tragedy, emphasizing that dark forces are not waiting for them to fall apart. Meanwhile, the Order of the Phoenix gathers, discussing what to do next in the war against Voldemort. Several characters, including Kingsley Shacklebolt and Hagrid, express their concern for the safety of Hogwarts and the students. There's a growing sense that Harry must be protected, as he remains Voldemort's target. The adults around him seem to understand that Harry's role is far greater than that of a student. We also see Draco Malfoy's absence weigh heavily on the students. Rumors swirl that he might have been involved in the events leading to Dumbledore's death. While some students express hatred toward him, others are unsure what to believe. This uncertainty adds tension within the Hogwarts community. Later, Harry reflects on the final moments with Dumbledore, remembering his calmness and strength even as he lay dying. This reflection solidifies Harry's resolve to continue the fight against Voldemort. He feels that honoring Dumbledore's memory is his responsibility, and this fuels his determination to uncover the secrets Voldemort has left behind. The chapter also touches on the funeral arrangements. Dumbledore's body is buried on the Hogwarts grounds, a fitting tribute to the man who protected the school for so many years. The ceremony is somber, with everyone from students to professors in attendance, grieving together. The sense of unity in the face of loss is a poignant moment, reminding everyone of the strength that comes from standing together. At the end of the chapter, Harry decides he cannot stay at Hogwarts any longer. He knows that the battle is far from over, and that leaving Hogwarts is the next step toward finding and destroying Voldemort's Horcruxes. He plans to leave with Ron and Hermione, aware of the dangers but driven by the mission ahead. Key moments in the chapter include the immediate aftermath of Dumbledore's death. Hogwarts is plunged into grief and confusion. Harry's guilt and resolve, he reflects on the tragedy but vows to honor Dumbledore's memory. McGonagall's leadership, she holds the school together and urges strength and resilience. The funeral scene, Hogwarts gathers in solemn unity to bury Dumbledore. Harry's decision to leave, he commits to continuing the fight and seeking the Horcruxes. Differences between the book and the movie condenses much of the emotional aftermath, focusing more on visuals and less on internal reflections. The funeral is shown briefly in the movie, whereas the book explores the deeper emotions of students and teachers. Harry's decision to leave Hogwarts is presented more dramatically in the film, while the book offers a slower, more introspective build-up. The complex dynamics between characters like Malfoy and others are touched on more subtly in the movie. That wraps up chapter 22, After the Burial. This chapter is one of the most emotional in the series, as it deals with the loss of a beloved leader and the uncertainty that follows. It deepens our understanding of Harry's character and the strength of those around him. What do you think? How do you feel about Hogwarts after Dumbledore's death? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for chapter 23 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into chapter 23 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Horcruxes. In this chapter, Harry and Dumbledore continue their dangerous quest to uncover Voldemort's secret to immortality, the Horcruxes. The tension rises as they explore memories, uncover truths, and prepare for the final confrontation. Let's go through the chapter and explore the mysteries and revelations that change everything. The chapter begins with Harry and Dumbledore back at Hogwarts after their trip to retrieve one of Voldemort's memories. Both look exhausted but determined to continue their mission. Dumbledore explains the grim reality: Voldemort has hidden pieces of his soul in objects called Horcruxes. These are dark magical artifacts, each containing a fragment of his soul, allowing him to remain alive despite mortal wounds. Dumbledore makes it clear that destroying the Horcruxes is the only way to defeat Voldemort once and for all. Harry, though anxious, feels more prepared now that he knows the truth. The two discuss how many Horcruxes there might be. Dumbledore believes there are at least 6, possibly 7 if Voldemort intended to split his soul even further. The conversation is intense, but it's also one of trust and resolve. Dumbledore tells Harry that this mission must be kept secret from others. The stakes are incredibly high. If anyone finds out, Voldemort's followers could interfere or hunt them down. Dumbledore's explanation of Voldemort's obsession with immortality sheds light on his terrifying past and the lengths he's willing to go to maintain power. Harry, though worried about the dangers ahead, feels his sense of purpose strengthen. He understands that this quest is more than just a fight, it's a battle against evil itself. As they talk, Dumbledore shares another memory that reveals Voldemort's fascination with dark magic and how he created the Horcruxes through forbidden rituals. This memory helps Harry realize the depth of Voldemort's depravity and the pain Voldemort inflicted on others to achieve his goals. The chapter also touches upon Harry's growing responsibility. Dumbledore reminds him that it's not enough to simply know the Horcruxes exist, he must act, and he must be willing to sacrifice everything if necessary. Harry silently accepts this burden but is visibly troubled. Before leaving the conversation, Dumbledore gives Harry advice on how to approach the final battle. He emphasizes that they must stay focused and that fear must not cloud their judgment. Harry reassures him, and their bond deepens. The chapter ends with Harry reflecting on the importance of friendship and loyalty. He knows that this mission will not only test his strength but also his heart. With Dumbledore's guidance, Harry is now more determined than ever to destroy the Horcruxes and bring Voldemort down. Key moments in the chapter include explanation of Horcruxes. Dumbledore explains how Voldemort split his soul to achieve immortality. The number of Horcruxes, Dumbledore estimates that Voldemort has hidden his soul in 6 or 7 objects, making him nearly impossible to kill. The importance of secrecy, Dumbledore stresses the danger of revealing their mission to others. Voldemort's obsession, the memory shared shows Voldemort's dark rituals and thirst for power. Harry's resolve, despite fear and danger. Harry accepts the responsibility to destroy the Horcruxes. Differences between the book and the movie. The film simplifies Dumbledore's explanations, focusing more on action than the deep lore of Horcruxes. Some of the memories shown in the book are not included or are shortened in the film. The book provides more details about Voldemort's creation of Horcruxes and his obsession with immortality. Harry's internal thoughts and emotional struggle are more thoroughly explored in the book. Chapter 23, Horcruxes, is a pivotal chapter that lays bare the true stakes of the battle against Voldemort. With Dumbledore's wisdom and Harry's courage, the fight against dark magic becomes clearer, more personal, and far more dangerous. This chapter strengthens Harry's resolve and prepares readers for the intense challenges that lie ahead. Let us know in the comments, which Horcrux are you most curious about? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for Chapter 24, where the story gets even darker. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 24 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Sectum Sempra. This chapter is intense and dramatic, as it highlights Harry's growing recklessness, the dangers of unchecked curiosity, and the dark secrets lurking in Hogwarts. The events in this chapter are pivotal, as they lead to lasting consequences for Harry and Severus Snape's complex past. Let's explore this gripping chapter together. The chapter begins with Harry becoming increasingly curious about the Half-Blood Prince's spellbook. His use of the dark spell Sectum Sempra marks a turning point, showing how dangerous and powerful these spells are. During a confrontation with Draco Malfoy in a hallway, Harry uses the spell without fully understanding its effect. The spell slashes Malfoy severely, causing blood to pour from deep cuts on his body. Draco collapses, and Harry instantly realizes that something terrible has happened. Panic sets in, and Harry is horrified at the damage he has done. Help arrives quickly. Professor Snape appears and immediately takes charge of the situation. He uses healing spells to stop the bleeding and close the wounds, but the severity of the cut shows how dangerous the spell is. Snape's reaction is chilling. He is furious and deeply disturbed, as if he knows more about the spell's origin. Harry stands frozen, ashamed and frightened by what he has done. Snape's glare pierces him, and the weight of his actions is unbearable. Dumbledore, who arrives soon after, looks grave but controlled. He reassures Harry, while Snape's anger simmers just beneath the surface. The situation escalates as Harry is forced to confront how using unknown spells without caution can lead to devastating results. Later, Harry's friends Ron and Hermione learn about the incident. Hermione is deeply concerned and urges Harry to be more careful, while Ron is shocked by the violence of the spell. Harry's guilt eats away at him as he struggles with the realization that power without understanding can be deadly. As the chapter progresses, Harry's attention is drawn to Snape's reaction. Snape's use of another spell to heal Malfoy shows his mastery and expertise, but it also reveals a past connection to dark magic. The tension between Harry and Snape deepens, as Harry wonders if Snape's anger is personal, rather than just professional. The chapter ends with Harry more aware of the dangers lurking within the Half-Blood Prince's potions book. He begins to question the morality of using spells he does not fully understand and reflects on the responsibility that comes with power. Key moments in the chapter include Harry's recklessness with Sectum Sempra. Without understanding its effects, Harry uses a dark spell that nearly kills Malfoy, showing how dangerous spells can be. Malfoy's severe injuries. The cuts from the spell are gruesome, demonstrating the deadly potential of dark magic. Snape's immediate intervention. Snape arrives and expertly heals Malfoy's wounds but is visibly enraged by Harry's actions. Dumbledore's calm response, while concerned. Dumbledore remains composed, offering Harry reassurance while understanding the severity of the situation. Harry's guilt and fear. The chapter explores Harry's emotional turmoil after realizing he could have seriously harmed someone. Tension between Harry and Snape. Snape's reaction suggests that Sectum Sempra may have a deeper, more personal connection to him. Reflection on power and responsibility. The chapter ends with Harry questioning how much trust one should place in spells and books without proper knowledge. Differences between the book and the movie. Intensity of the scene. The book goes into much greater detail regarding Harry's panic and guilt, while the movie portrays the event more quickly. Snape's backstory hint. In the book, Snape's reaction hints at a personal history with the spell, which the movie touches on but doesn't fully explore. Dumbledore's calmness. The movie shows Dumbledore arriving and immediately providing aid, while the book delves into his composed but concerned demeanor. Emotional depth. The book spends more time on Harry's internal conflict and Hermione's reaction, giving a clearer picture of the moral implications. That wraps up chapter 24. Sectum Sempra. This chapter stands out for its exploration of Harry's impulsiveness, the hidden dangers of magic, and the complexity of relationships at Hogwarts. It's a powerful moment that leaves lasting repercussions on Harry's journey. What do you think about Harry's use of dark magic? Was it curiosity or recklessness? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we dive into chapter 25 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into chapter 25 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Seer Overheard. This chapter is all about discoveries, eavesdropping, and a shocking revelation that deepens the mystery around Hogwarts' most secretive professor, Severus Snape. The chapter begins in the Gryffindor common room where Harry is surrounded by Ron and Hermione. They're all buzzing with curiosity about Malfoy's suspicious activities. Hermione insists Harry doesn't have proof, while Ron is more open to the idea that Malfoy is up to something dark. The conversation circles around, but Harry remains determined. He's convinced Draco is plotting something sinister with Voldemort. Harry's Quidditch team is still riding the wave of success after their recent victory. However, he notices Ron and Hermione are distracted, Hermione by her jealousy over Ron's continued relationship with Lavender Brown, and Ron by his awkwardness whenever Lavender clings to him. The tension between the trio remains thick, though Harry tries to keep them focused on bigger issues. Soon, Harry heads for one of his routine lessons with Dumbledore. This time, Dumbledore shares more about Voldemort's past. The memory they view shows Tom Riddle during his time at Hogwarts. But instead of focusing solely on Voldemort, the chapter shifts toward another thread, the prophecy and Professor Trelawney. While returning from the Room of Requirement, Harry unexpectedly encounters Professor Trelawney. She's muttering to herself, carrying her sherry bottle, and seems extremely anxious. She explains that she's been having trouble finding a place to hide her bottles since the room of requirement doesn't seem to accommodate her anymore. Harry, curious, asks her about the prophecy she made years ago, the one that determined his fate. Trelawney admits she doesn't remember making it. But just as she speaks, she recalls something disturbing. Trelawney tells Harry that on the night she made the prophecy in the Hog's Head, someone was listening. She remembers being thrown out of the inn afterward, but before that, she sensed an intruder. When Harry presses, she recalls it was Severus Snape who overheard her prophecy. This revelation stuns Harry. It dawns on him that Snape was the one who delivered the partial prophecy to Voldemort. And by doing so, Snape set in motion the events that led to Voldemort targeting the Potters, and ultimately, Harry becoming the chosen one. Harry is overwhelmed with fury. His hatred for Snape intensifies, especially since Snape's betrayal indirectly caused the death of his parents. He storms to Dumbledore's office with this revelation, desperate to confront him. But before he can, the chapter ends with Harry realizing how much deeper and more dangerous the threads of fate have become. This chapter builds suspense and personal tension. It shows how the past continues to affect Harry's present, and it raises the question of Snape's true loyalties. Key moments in the chapter include Harry, Ron, and Hermione debate Draco Malfoy's suspicious activities. Trelawney wanders the corridors, distressed and muttering about sherry bottles. Harry questions her about the prophecy. Trelawney recalls that Snape overheard the prophecy and passed it to Voldemort. Harry realizes Snape is directly connected to his parents' deaths. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, this revelation about Snape overhearing the prophecy is crucial and directly told by Trelawney to Harry. The Half-Blood Prince movie completely skips this moment, leaving out a major piece of backstory in Harry's emotional reaction. Trelawney herself barely appears in the film, while in the book, her role is pivotal in this chapter. That wraps up chapter 25, The Seer Overheard. This chapter is vital because it connects the past prophecy to Snape, intensifying Harry's mistrust and hatred toward him. What do you think? Was Snape's betrayal unforgivable, or was he caught in a web larger than himself? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for chapter 26. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into chapter 26 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Cave. This is one of the most suspenseful and chilling chapters in the series, as Harry and Dumbledore embark on a dangerous mission to retrieve one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. The journey takes them deep into a hidden cave, testing their courage, magical skills, and their bond of trust. The chapter begins with Dumbledore and Harry preparing for their journey. Dumbledore emphasizes the importance of Harry's cooperation, making clear that he may need Harry's help when the time comes. With a clear destination in mind, they apparate together and arrive on a lonely, desolate seaside cliff. The crashing waves and jagged rocks set an ominous tone, as Dumbledore explains that Voldemort once brought 2 children here during his orphanage days, using the cave for something dark. Together, they climb down the cliff face, with Harry supporting the weakened Dumbledore, who is still suffering from the cursed hand. Once they reach the base, they find the mouth of the cave. To gain entry, Dumbledore slices his own hand, revealing that Voldemort's magic requires a blood sacrifice for access. A crack in the rock widens, and the two step inside. The cave is eerie, filled with an unnatural chill and the sensation of being watched. Soon, they reach a large underground lake. In the center, far across the still, black water, a small island is visible. Dumbledore quickly identifies that the Horcrux is hidden there, but warns Harry that the water is not safe to touch or cross carelessly. He summons an invisible chain, bringing forth a small boat. Both of them squeeze in and cross the lake, though Harry notices pale shapes lurking beneath the surface. Inferi, reanimated corpses under Voldemort's control. On the island, they discover a stone basin filled with a glowing green potion. At the bottom of the basin rests a locket, the Horcrux. But the potion cannot be vanished, conjured away, or removed by magic. Someone must drink it. Dumbledore insists that he must be the one to do it, despite Harry's protests. He makes Harry promise to ensure he drinks every drop, no matter what happens. As Dumbledore begins drinking, the potion tortures him, causing visions, pain, and delirium. He begs Harry to stop, pleads for death, and screams in anguish. Harry, heartbroken but determined, forces him to keep drinking, spoonful by spoonful, until the basin is empty. The locket is finally revealed. But Dumbledore collapses, weakened and nearly unconscious. Harry tries to help him drink water from the lake, but as soon as he touches the water, the inferi rise. Dozens of corpses surge out, surrounding Harry and dragging him under. In the chaos, Harry desperately tries spells, but his wand is nearly useless against their sheer numbers. Just as he begins to suffocate, Dumbledore summons his remaining strength. With a flash of fire, he drives the inferi back, surrounding them with a ring of flame. The two manage to escape the cave, Harry supporting the frail and barely conscious Dumbledore. Though they have secured the Horcrux, it is clear that the cost of this mission has been tremendous. And darker challenges await. Key moments in the chapter include Harry and Dumbledore apparating to the cliffside and recalling Voldemort's past, the blood sacrifice required to open the cave entrance, the discovery of the underground lake filled with inferi, Dumbledore forcing himself to drink the cursed potion, while Harry ensures he continues, the terrifying inferi attack and Dumbledore's fiery defense. Their narrow escape with the locket Horcrux. Differences between the book and the movie. The book provides more detail on the inferi, describing their sheer numbers and Harry's near drowning. The movie condenses this sequence into a shorter visual scene. In the book, Dumbledore's suffering while drinking the potion is prolonged and deeply emotional, with him begging for release, which is more intense than in the film. The novel includes more background about the cave's connection to Voldemort's childhood, adding context that is mostly absent in the movie. That wraps up chapter 26, The Cave. This chapter is one of the most intense moments in the series, showcasing Dumbledore's sacrifice, Harry's determination, and the chilling reality of Voldemort's dark magic. What was the most terrifying part for you, the potion's torment or the inferi attack? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for chapter 27. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into chapter 27 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Lightning-Struck Tower. This chapter marks one of the most shocking and pivotal moments in the entire series, as loyalties are tested, and a tragedy changes everything at Hogwarts. The chapter opens with Harry and Dumbledore arriving back at Hogsmeade after retrieving the locket Horcrux from the cave. Dumbledore is gravely weakened from drinking the potion, barely able to stand, and Harry supports him as they make their way back to the castle. Just as they arrive in Hogsmeade, they see the dark mark blazing high above the astronomy tower, the dreaded sign of Voldemort and his followers. Dumbledore insists that they must return immediately to investigate, despite his weakened state. As they approach the castle, Madame Rosmerta notices their arrival, but there's no time for conversation. Dumbledore commands Harry to fetch Severus Snape if anything should happen and stresses the importance of doing as he says, no matter what. Once they reach the top of the astronomy tower, Dumbledore immobilizes Harry with a body-binding spell, hiding him under the invisibility cloak. Harry, unable to move or speak, becomes a helpless witness to everything that follows. Moments later, Draco Malfoy bursts onto the tower, wand raised. This is the confrontation that has been building all year. Dumbledore, calm and compassionate even in his weakened state, speaks gently to Draco. He reveals that he knows about Draco's mission from Voldemort to kill him and how Draco has been attempting throughout the year to let Death Eaters into Hogwarts. Dumbledore tells Draco that he is not a killer and offers him protection, not just for himself but also for his family. Draco, shaken and conflicted, admits he had been trying different schemes, cursed objects, poison mead, and finally, the vanishing cabinet to bring Death Eaters inside. The conversation shows Draco's true struggle. He is terrified, desperate, but not truly evil. He lowers his wand slightly, clearly torn. Suddenly, several Death Eaters rush into the tower, including Fenrir Greyback. They goad Draco to finish his mission, but Draco still hesitates. And then, in the most shocking twist, Severus Snape arrives. Dumbledore, looking directly at Snape, simply says, "Severus, please." Without hesitation, Snape raises his wand and casts the killing curse. A flash of green light bursts forth, and Dumbledore is blasted into the air. He falls from the tower, plummeting down to the ground below, lifeless. Harry, frozen and forced to watch, is utterly powerless in this devastating moment. The Death Eaters quickly flee, and Harry's rage builds as the body-bind curse finally lifts. He rushes after them, determined to avenge Dumbledore, but the chapter closes on the haunting reality: the greatest protector of Hogwarts has fallen, betrayed by the very man everyone trusted most. Key moments in the chapter include Harry and Dumbledore returning weakened from retrieving the Horcrux, the dark mark over the astronomy tower signaling danger, Dumbledore freezing Harry to protect him, Draco's confrontation with Dumbledore, torn between duty and fear, Snape's shocking betrayal, killing Dumbledore, differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Harry is immobilized and hidden, forced to watch the entire scene without interference. In the movie, Harry hides below and witnesses the events voluntarily, which reduces the sense of powerlessness. The book emphasizes Draco's hesitation and humanity much more strongly, making it clear he is not ready to be a killer. The film glosses over much of this internal struggle. The Death Eater's presence during the scene is more pronounced in the book, adding to the chaos and tension. That wraps up Chapter 27, The Lightning-Struck Tower. This is one of the most heartbreaking and crucial turning points in the series: the loss of Dumbledore, the betrayal of Snape, and the moral struggle of Draco Malfoy. What did you think of this shocking betrayal? Do you believe Dumbledore knew exactly what he was asking of Snape? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 28, Flight of the Prince. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 28 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Flight of the Prince. This chapter is an emotional and action-packed turning point, unfolding in the aftermath of Dumbledore's death as Harry desperately pursues the fleeing Death Eaters and faces the shocking truth about Snape. The chapter opens with Harry momentarily frozen in shock as he watches Snape cast the killing curse and Dumbledore fall from the astronomy tower. Before he can process what's happened, chaos erupts across Hogwarts. Death Eaters are retreating, spells fly through the corridors, and the castle is thrown into turmoil. Determined to stop them, Harry sprints down the spiral staircase, ignoring everything else in his path. His only goal is to catch Snape. He races through the castle, catching glimpses of Death Eaters escaping and allies trying to fight them off. Outside, he spots Hagrid, who is battling near his hut. In the chaos, Death Eaters set Hagrid's hut ablaze, flames roaring against the dark night. Hagrid tries to put out the fire while fighting back. Harry rushes past him without hesitation, focused solely on Snape and the others ahead. The chase reaches its climax on the Hogwarts grounds, not far from the gates. Snape, Draco Malfoy, and several Death Eaters are fleeing. Harry launches a flurry of spells, but Snape deflects each one with ease, never counterattacking lethally. His skill is overwhelming. Every curse Harry hurls is brushed aside like a child's attempt. As Harry calls Snape a coward, Snape's calm mask cracks. He shouts furiously, "Don't call me coward." A moment that burns itself into Harry's memory. In this confrontation, Snape reveals a devastating truth: he is the Half-Blood Prince, the mysterious figure whose potions book had guided Harry all year. He mocks Harry for failing to notice, effortlessly blocks the boy's spells, and escapes beyond the Hogwarts boundaries. There, he disapparates along with Draco and the Death Eaters, leaving Harry furious, powerless, and heartbroken. Back at the castle, the scale of the tragedy becomes clear. The dark mark still hangs ominously over the astronomy tower. Students and staff gather in stunned silence, trying to come to terms with the loss of their beloved headmaster. Hagrid, despite the destruction of his hut, comforts Harry as grief and guilt wash over him. Dumbledore, the man Harry trusted above all, is gone. The Death Eaters have succeeded. Snape has betrayed them. This chapter marks the end of Hogwarts as a place of safety. The war has truly come home. Key moments in the chapter include Harry's frantic pursuit of Snape and the Death Eaters through Hogwarts and onto the grounds. The chaotic nighttime battle involving students, Order members, and Death Eaters, Hagrid's hut being set on fire during the skirmish, the intense confrontation between Harry and Snape, including the line "Don't call me coward." The shocking revelation that Snape is the Half-Blood Prince. Snape and the Death Eaters escape after Dumbledore's death. The emotional aftermath as Hogwarts reels from the tragedy. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Harry chases Snape across the grounds, resulting in a lengthy, tense confrontation and the Half-Blood Prince revelation. In the movie, this scene is shortened and simplified. The book portrays a broader, more chaotic battle inside Hogwarts with multiple characters, whereas the film minimizes this sequence. Hagrid's hut being set ablaze is a key part of the book's climax but is altered in the film. Snape's calm deflection of Harry's spells and his emotional outburst are far more detailed in the novel. That wraps up Chapter 28, Flight of the Prince. This chapter is a pivotal moment in the series. Dumbledore is gone, Snape's betrayal is laid bare, and Harry faces a future more uncertain than ever. What shocked you more, Snape's true identity or Dumbledore's fall? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for Chapter 29. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into Chapter 29 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The Phoenix Lament. This chapter unfolds in the immediate aftermath of the tragic events at the Astronomy Tower, immersing us in a somber atmosphere as the Hogwarts community comes to terms with the devastating loss of Professor Dumbledore. As the chapter opens, Harry is frozen in shock, his mind unable to process what has just happened. Dumbledore's lifeless body lies below the tower, and the castle is filled with panic and confusion. Hagrid arrives, having seen the dark mark, and Harry tells him what happened. They rush together toward the base of the Astronomy Tower, where a small crowd has gathered around Dumbledore's body. The sense of disbelief is palpable. The greatest wizard of the age has fallen. Inside the hospital wing, Madame Pomfrey is overwhelmed as injured students are brought in from the battle with Death Eaters. Bill Weasley lies unconscious after being savaged by Fenrir Greyback, though he will live. Harry explains to the gathered group, McGonagall, Lupin, Tonks, Bill, Fleur, and others everything he witnessed, except for the details of the Horcrux mission, which he keeps to himself. He reveals that Snape killed Dumbledore, and this revelation shocks everyone present. An especially poignant moment occurs when Fleur Delacour insists she will still marry Bill despite his injuries. Molly Weasley fears Bill will no longer want to marry her because of the attack, but Fleur fiercely declares that scars will not change her love. This moment earns her newfound respect from Molly, and they embrace, united by their love for Bill. Meanwhile, McGonagall takes charge of the situation, stepping into leadership in Dumbledore's absence. She questions Harry about the night's events, especially regarding Snape and Malfoy. Harry tells her about Malfoy's task and Snape's betrayal. McGonagall is stunned but composed, immediately turning to practical matters. She convenes the heads of houses Flitwick, Sprout, and Slughorn to decide how to inform the students and the wider wizarding world about Dumbledore's death. The chapter also highlights Harry's private grief. He feels a deep sense of guilt, believing that his insistence on retrieving the Horcrux led to Dumbledore's vulnerability. He cannot share the burden of the Horcrux hunt with anyone yet, but he silently vows to continue the mission alone. Later, Luna Lovegood plays a small but touching role, helping Harry reach the hospital wing unnoticed. Her calm demeanor and gentle words give Harry some comfort. Luna speaks about death in her characteristic, thoughtful way, reminding Harry of the Thestrals and her own experience with loss. Her quiet support contrasts with the surrounding chaos. As night turns to dawn, the atmosphere in Hogwarts is heavy with mourning. Fawkes, Dumbledore's Phoenix, fills the air with a haunting lament, a song so powerful and mournful that it seems to express the collective grief of everyone at the castle. This mournful cry spreads through the grounds, a fitting tribute to Dumbledore's greatness and a symbol of the sorrow that now hangs over Hogwarts. The chapter closes with a sense of finality and transition. The leadership of the school must move forward, the students must be informed, and the wizarding world will soon be shaken by the news. For Harry, this moment crystallizes his resolve. The war has truly begun, and Dumbledore's mission is now his alone to carry on. Key moments in the chapter include Hagrid and Harry discovering Dumbledore's body at the base of the tower, the hospital wing gathering, where everyone processes the shocking news, Fleur's declaration of love and commitment to Bill despite his injuries, McGonagall stepping into leadership and questioning Harry about the night, Harry's conversation with Luna, offering quiet comfort, Fawkes' mournful song echoing through the castle. Differences between the book and the movie. In the book, there's a detailed and emotional gathering in the hospital wing, including Fleur's moment with Bill and McGonagall's leadership. This entire scene is absent in the film. Luna's comforting conversation with Harry happens in the book but not in the movie. Fawkes' lament is described movingly in the book but is only briefly hinted at in the movie. The film skips most of the aftermath and moves straight to the mourning at the tower and the funeral in the next scenes. That wraps up Chapter 29, The Phoenix Lament. This chapter is one of the most emotional in the series, showing how everyone copes with Dumbledore's death and setting the stage for the final book. It's a moment of mourning, resolve, and quiet strength. What was the most moving moment for you? Fleur's love for Bill, Luna's calm support, or Fawkes' mournful song? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter. Welcome back to Boundless Books. Today, we're diving into the final chapter of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled The White Tomb. This poignant and solemn chapter brings the school year to a close in the shadow of Dumbledore's death, as Hogwarts mourns its beloved headmaster and prepares for uncertain times ahead. The chapter opens with the aftermath of the tragic night. The wizarding world is shaken by Dumbledore's death, and the news spreads like wildfire. Owls fly endlessly, the Daily Prophet is full of speculation, and the Ministry faces mounting fear and confusion. At Hogwarts, students and staff move in stunned silence, struggling to process the enormity of the loss. Harry feels numb, the events of the Astronomy Tower replaying in his mind again and again. The school decides to hold a funeral for Dumbledore on the grounds, and representatives from across the wizarding world arrive to pay their respects. Centaurs watch solemnly from the edges of the forest, mere people gather in the lake singing haunting songs, and important figures like the Minister for Magic, Cornelius Fudge, Rufus Scrimgeour, Madame Maxime, and the Durmstrang bring a global weight to the ceremony. Meanwhile, Harry spends time alone, trying to come to terms with everything. He avoids the Gryffindor common room, unable to face the chatter and mourning of others. He speaks briefly with Ron and Hermione, sharing his decision not to return to Hogwarts next year. Instead, he plans to dedicate his time to finding and destroying Voldemort's Horcruxes, continuing Dumbledore's mission. Ron and Hermione immediately pledge to accompany him, showing their unwavering loyalty and friendship. The funeral itself is beautifully described. The students, teachers, and visitors gather by the lake. The merpeople's song echoes eerily. The white marble tomb, Dumbledore's final resting place, stands gleaming in the sunlight. Hagrid, carrying Dumbledore's body, is overcome with emotion. The ceremony is simple but deeply moving, reflecting the headmaster's legacy of wisdom, kindness, and courage. Harry reflects on Dumbledore's life, the guidance he gave, and the painful reality of moving forward without him. During the service, Harry notices several things. Fawkes, Dumbledore's phoenix, sings a lament, a song of such beauty and sorrow that many are brought to tears. Afterward, Fawkes flies away, disappearing into the distance, symbolizing the end of an era. Harry also observes Draco's absence and Snape's role in Dumbledore's death, fueling his resolve. After the ceremony, Scrimgeour tries once again to persuade Harry to cooperate with the Ministry, but Harry refuses more firmly than ever. He is no longer a schoolboy, he has a mission. The chapter concludes with Harry breaking off his romantic relationship with Ginny. Though they care deeply for each other, he cannot put her in danger by being close to her as he goes after Voldemort. Ginny understands, her quiet bravery matching his. The book ends with Harry, Ron, and Hermione standing together, united in purpose. Harry declares that he won't return to Hogwarts next year. Instead, they will begin their journey to find the remaining Horcruxes and prepare for the final battle. As the sun sets over Dumbledore's white tomb, hope and determination rise in their hearts. Despite the darkness ahead, key moments in the chapter include: the wizarding world reacts to Dumbledore's death with shock and sorrow. Hogwarts decides to host a grand funeral on its grounds. Representatives from across magical communities arrive to pay respects. Harry decides not to return to Hogwarts, revealing his Horcrux quest to Ron and Hermione. Dumbledore's funeral, Hagrid carries the body, Fawkes sings, the white tomb is sealed. Scrimgeour attempts to recruit Harry again. Harry refuses. Harry breaks up with Ginny to protect her. Harry, Ron, and Hermione commit to facing Voldemort together. Differences between the book and the movie. The book includes Dumbledore's full funeral with international guests, mere-people, centaurs, and the tomb. This is entirely omitted from the film. The Phoenix's lament and Fawkes flying away appear only in the book. Harry's breakup with Ginny happens during the funeral in the book, but in the film, their relationship is underdeveloped and the breakup is barely addressed. Harry's explicit decision to hunt Horcruxes with Ron and Hermione is stronger in the book, setting up Deathly Hallows more clearly. That wraps up Chapter 30, The White Tomb. This emotional finale closes one chapter and sets the stage for the war to come. Dumbledore's legacy lives on through Harry's mission and the loyalty of his friends. What was the most emotional moment of Dumbledore's funeral for you? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we continue the magical journey into Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.